On the dress. Not my favorite.
What do you mean? Sable's right there.
They're so comfy. Like, I don't know. They're so good. All the Jenners are wearing something that shows skill. So like the corset back is like, what's the point of clothes if you're doing
You lick hand stuff up?
I'll make sure you guys.
I'm not.
We try to do every Wednesday at 2. A lot of times they'll get like some officers. So like, I gotta do all comprehensive. I feel I think we're still
Sorry, I did drop like the first 10 pages.
What is it? You print off
we will be meeting on this in preparation for this city event.
They're from Jan's. Yeah, like I'm adding like yeah, probably not. And just sort of senior awards ceremony. The seniors like they qualify like you know your name. So the chancellor's like anyone already. So like me, like the seniors like pure.
And yes, they just get it.
Time is 7:03, and I call this session of the Whitewater Student Government to order. Could you please rise and grateful to the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Madam Clerk, if you please, Senator Ray, call the roll.
Senator Arnett.
Here.
Senator Coleman.
Present.
Senator Janetti.
Present.
Senator Gile.
Present.
Senator Hernandez. Here. Senator Kiwu.
Present.
Senator Lang.
Present.
Senator Major.
Present.
Senator Marty. Senator Punzel.
Present.
Senator Pennell.
Present.
Senator Reber.
Present.
Senator Reyes.
Present.
Senator Richardson.
Present.
Senator Thompson. Here. Senator Vanderhack. Present. Senator Wheaton.
Present.
Senator Werner. Senator Wells.
Seeing that the quorum is present, we will go. We'll go into special orders, starting with the appointment to one Charlotte District seat. Is there anyone in the gallery interested in one Charlotte District seat? Seeing none, we'll go into the appointment to 3 off-campus district seats. Is there anyone in the gallery interested in an off-campus district seat? Seeing none, we'll go into the appointment to 2 Rock County district seats. Is there anyone in the gallery interested in a Rock County district seat? Seeing none, we'll go into the appointment to 1 at-large seat. Is there anyone in the gallery interested in an at-large seat? Seeing none, we'll go into guest speakers, starting with Ann Dudzik, who is a business manager at the University of Wisconsin. And you have the floor whenever you're ready.
and I work with University Health and Counseling Services here on campus. And I was asked to come by and talk to you about our summer services. And we are business as usual. For those who are enrolled in classes for the summer, there is no fee. But if you're not enrolled in summer, but you're enrolled in the fall, you can come in and you can have services, and there's a one-time $40 fee. Because your fees come out of the SAG fees, which are being used during the summer, obviously. So we have that. Yeah, all counseling, wellness, IVP, and health all run the same. There might be some days that look different, but like I said, it's business as usual. The other thing I wanted to bring up that we are going to be doing this summer is onboarding 3 new counselors, additional counselors. So then we'll have that to go on come July. So yeah, anybody have any questions?
Any questions?
Anything that you want me to go over? If you want me to explain more about our services or?
So we're all in classes currently for the spring, but not for the fall. Are you eligible to use services over the summer? Or will that?
No, you have to be enrolled currently and for the fall.
Okay.
So for spring and fall.
But now, if you're in one or the other, it's not.
Right. So anybody that even graduates now, they're not eligible for services.
Or then someone who's like, will be a first time student.
Yeah, so then they can start, usually they start somewhere in the August 1st to August, whatever that first week is, they can come in and the services are free because it's part of their SAG fees. So like athletes who have to come in for sports or sports physicals, so. Any other questions?
Are you able to give us just a short rundown of the services that UHCS provides?
Yeah, so health services is just like any other health clinic. The only thing that we don't do is offer imaging. We don't have x-ray or ultrasound. We do have an EKG machine, but we do refer out, and it's really nice now that we have the Edgerton Urgent Care here in town, so they're able to take in those orders and do those for us. We do sports physicals, regular physicals. We do, especially for teachers right now who are looking for placement or for any type of healthcare services type field, we do TB testing, we do any type of lab. Even if you have an outside provider who wants labs done on a regular basis, our lab technician can do that. So that is pretty much it. So we're looking at, like I said, women's annual exam. We're looking at STI testing. We have our registered nurse who can do that. We have you can call our nurse and do a triage appointment with her over the phone before coming in. Her name is Jenny, and she's there every day. Counseling is just like it sounds. You can come in. We still have our relaxation room. You can come in and utilize that with a massage chair and other things that you can use in there. We have the wellness, well-being unit, and they are kind of in a slower pattern during the summer, but she really will work hard on getting all the events planned for the next school year. And same with the interpersonal violence prevention department with this Katrisa. So, yeah. I have anybody that's coming in, when we make schedules, we can do anything from ears to injuries to suturing to a lot of things. So, medications, that kind of stuff.
And it is not an urgent care, correct?
What's that?
It is not an urgent care.
No, it is not an urgent care. So we operate Monday through Friday, 8 to 4:30 p.m. But then we refer you to the urgent care here in town or Fort. Healthcare has a 24-hour emergency department.
Any other questions? Anyone in the room?
And if you have any questions, please just give us a call. You can go to our website, which is www.edu/UHCS. And Olivia, am I missing anything?
I don't think so. I mean, I think mainly just if you are unsure if something is like, you should go to the urgent care or if you should go to UHCS, always feel free give us a call. And generally, even though usually we can't give you medical advice over the phone, sometimes our nurse is free and she is able to give you some
Yeah.
advice.
And even so, Jenny has a good turnaround with calling students back.
Yeah, like usually within 24, 48 hours.
Yeah.
So yes.
Seeing no further questions, thank you for your time.
Okay, thank you.
Now, up next is Terry Tombarello, who is the Executive Director of the University of
Interesting.
And of course, you have the floor whenever you're ready.
All right, well, so how's everyone doing tonight? Good. Well, thanks for asking me to come speak tonight and give some housing updates. I always like when I can get back to WSG. It's, as I've said before, one of my favorite sandboxes, so nice to be here. So I wrote down just a handful of things that I think might interest you, things that are recent for us to talk about, and if there's time after, I'd be happy to answer any questions. So first of all, and most of these things, some of you already know, right? But the first thing is, what really exciting for us is we have transitioned, working with the rest of campus, we've transitioned our housing application to be a true onboarding application for housing, dining, and parking. And so what that means is that students are getting ready to commit to campuses. When they get to UW-Whitewater's application, they're going to be able to take care of all three of those initiatives all in one place, in which previously those were three different processes, which can get confusing and time-consuming. And on most campuses, those will remain three different processes. But at UW-Whitewater, that's going to be just one experience for our students. Next, Wells West is getting 2 new elevators this summer. This project has been long planned. Last summer, we replaced 2 elevators in Wells East. These are the original elevators from the building when it was built in 1968, so they are at end of life. However, we've got our money's worth out of these, right? So we were very happy that we've gone this long, but we're even more excited about getting 2 new elevators. We know what the drill's like because we did this last summer with Wells East, so we're looking forward to this project and think it's going to go very smooth. Fricker retention wall. Fricker Hall has, since it's been renovated in 2015, has had a known drainage issue. And we've known for quite a while what the problem was, but when we have heavy rain, Fricker basement floods. And so we have been able to work with engineers and architects to design a retention wall that is going to be built this summer and should prevent the majority of our problems, if not all of our flooding problems in Fricker. So that's exciting. Similarly, not quite the same, Tut basement has a flooding problem as well. It's not as extensive as the Fricker problem, and it's a very different reason. This one is a foundation issue, but that is being addressed this summer as well. Because it's in the foundation, people aren't actually going to see the outcome, other than, I guess the outcome is it won't flood anymore. But you won't see a physical retention wall like you're going to see over in Fricker. Wells is getting a new roof. That design team is starting to meet this Friday, and that project should take place in the summer of 27. You know, roofs are funny, especially if you're in the residence hall housing field. Because if you don't replace them when they need to be replaced, you feel it, right? People start noticing leaks, and water follows the path of least resistance, and you have a lot of problems, and it's a big, big nuisance. They're also really expensive. The roof for Wells is probably going to be over $5 million from start to end, but it's not like any other project. There's nothing sexy about a roof. If I put $5 million into any other renovation, when it's done, you get to see it. And you see that payoff. You walk into the newly renovated space, and you're like, well, that's beautiful. That's awesome. That's incredible. The roof, nobody's going to walk by Wells 2 years from now and say, hey, is that roof new? But it's still necessary that we have to do it. And this one's ready to be done. The good news is this next phrase I'm not going to be able to say too much longer, but the Wells roof is the original roof from 1968. They don't build them like they did then. I can guarantee you this next roof, we are not going to get 57 years out of. We're not. The goal is probably 20 to 25. But whatever they did in 1968, they did really, really well. And like I said, we got our money's worth out of it. Benson Hall is our next residence hall to be renovated. Benson Hall's renovation is, that design team is meeting as well. It's just started. We've had one meeting and another one is coming up. Benson is looking, we're going to do a few things in Benson for the renovation. We're going to renovate the bathrooms. The goal is for those renovated bathrooms to look very, very similar to Ari Fricker. It's the same designers and the same contractors that did Ari Fricker, and some of the same people. So we basically asked them to mirror that. Benson's also getting new windows and tuck pointing. Tuck pointing is another one of those things that you don't truly see a bunch of payoff, but when you have brick buildings, it needs to be done occasionally, and this is a good opportunity for us to do that. And then finally, carpet. We try to replace a certain amount of carpeting every year. This year, it's going to be Wells East, floors 8, 9, and 10. Carpeting severely needs to be replaced, and it'll be done this summer. And so that is my quick updates on all things university housing. Any questions about anything I shared or even non-related?
How's your week going?
My weekend was great. Thanks for asking. How was yours?
It was good.
Started off wonderful at a very nice gala here in the University Center.
Awesome.
But I am not quite as great, just a quick little proud moment, not quite as great as I'm expecting this coming weekend to be because my youngest child is graduating from college and I am now officially done paying tuition. After putting 3 kids through college. So that'll be a very happy moment for me.
Senator Majors, first question.
With the recent heavy storms, was there any damage to any of the residence halls with that mentioned flooding?
Yes, the most done in Fricker. We lost a lot of carpeting in Fricker, and in fact, because we're so close to starting the building of the retention wall, we made the decision we're not going to replace that carpet, and we're just going to go with the hard floor for the last few weeks. And then once the project's done, then we'll bring in brand new carpet. Fricker had the most damage. Tutt had flooding. I don't really think Tutt had any damage. The most damage we really saw was in Fricker, which has been happening for years. But unfortunately, and I'm not going to get into it unless folks really want to care for boredom, but unfortunately, capital projects in this state take a very long time to get done, and it's an arduous process. And this retention wall, the dollar amount triggered a capital project, and that's why it's taken us so long to get there. But it's going to be done this summer, and it should be very, very helpful. Other questions?
Deputy Speaker Vanderhaar.
What's the timeline on that new elevator that's going in the walls?
Timeline of the new elevator, they are going to start the project on Tuesday, May 19th, and the goal is to be done in the middle of August. It's very much like Wells East. We asked them to try to be done with at least one of the 2 elevators prior to early arrivals moving in, and then both elevators by move-in. Now, if you were keeping score, they didn't quite hit that with Wells East. However, and I've been meeting with these folks every other Tuesday morning since the entire academic year. Here's what I've asked of them, and every time I ask it, they tell me, yes, that's true. And I say, as a person who doesn't know how to grab the right wrench and put in a new elevator, like that's not a skill set I have. But I believe if the same people are doing the exact same thing in an identical building one summer later, that the entire process should go smoother. And they said, absolutely, this is going to be a lot smoother than Wells East, right? And not that there's anything wrong with the Wells East elevators. They just, learned some things they probably didn't anticipate at the design stage. So, but everything is purchased. When they purchased everything they needed for Wells East, they bought Wells West as well. I know that because we've been storing it, and it's ready to go. And I think that there's really strong expectations and to meet the timeline. This is one of those projects, and we can't say this about every project, including the retention wall I've been talking about, that heavy rain won't impact. Sometimes we do projects, and if it rains all of June, we can't get to the project as quickly as we hope. This project won't be impacted by weather. Other questions?
Senator Majors?
Completely unrelated.
Sure.
It might just be because I'm not as knowledgeable about housing, but Whitehall.
Whitehall.
Is that it's my understanding that it used to be a residence hall, that it's now just.
That is, Whitehall was a residence hall, and I believe the last year we occupied Whitehall was 2005.
Is there any, like, what is going on exactly with Whitehall? Like, I know it's mentioned, like, asbestos is my understanding. Is there a plan with that hall right now?
So Whitehall is currently not under the purview of University Housing.
Okay.
Like I said, we surrendered the building. It's probably not the right term to use, but it's not incorrect. But campus took the building over for different purposes after the 2005 academic year. And for a number of years, they used it for various offices. The building's been vacant for quite a while. And I believe it's scheduled to be demolished at some point. The technical term is razed. Ask me in a different setting why we created a word raised to describe tearing something down. The true answer, a little bit of a joke, not a tough crowd. The true answer is that's a Latin root, the raise. But it's scheduled to be raised sometime in the near future. But again, that's not something that's under my purview, so I don't have a lot of details. As far as asbestos, if there was an exposure issue currently, then I'm confident the university would take care of it. But whenever you demolish a building that was built in the 50s or 60s, you're going to have to do abatement. And I have every confidence that'll be done appropriately and you know, the right people will do it the right way. Anything else?
Senator Dealer?
Oh, never mind, it wasn't a question, it's for Wind.
Any other questions here?
Yes.
Senator Weedham?
So probably about 2 months ago, and I just never heard anything about it. I only saw it, but in Wellers, it looked like a fire. I was told it wasn't a fire, but there was never like an announcement of what happened. Are you able to tell us what happened and how it was resolved?
Yes, so, and you're right, there was about 2 months ago, it was in the middle of the night. We had and I'm going to tell you what happened, but I'll tell you up front, I'm probably not going to get the technical terms right. But one of our steam release valves failed. And when it fails, then there's a backup that just exhausts that steam out the side of the building. And if you saw it, you could literally see the pipe it was coming out of. So the entire process worked as designed. The reality is when our buildings are heated through steam. And so when you have steam heating your buildings, it goes in, but at the same time, some of it's always got to go out. And because the release valve got stuck and wasn't working correctly, the backup kicked in, worked like it was supposed to. But because it's the backup and because it was literally backed up, people saw a lot of steam coming out at the same time. Now this is pure white steam, so I know it could have looked like something else, but it wasn't. We had technicians come in that night and take care of it. There was an initial fix to get through the night, and then the very next Monday, I think it happened on a Friday or Saturday, the very next Monday morning, we had a part that we had rushed in, and it was completely fixed. But just a steam valve. Anything else? These are great questions.
You have a new process for applying for a housing permit, I believe.
So I talked about it at the very beginning. So that's this, now we've moved to a true onboarding to UW-Whitewater through your house, apply for housing, apply for dining, select your meal plan, and indicate parking interests all at one time. And so that is what you're referencing.
Mm-hmm. How has that been, or what's the reaction been on the staff side with that so far?
On the staff side, I think everybody recognizes that this is a really unique opportunity for UW-Whitewater to do something that is fairly unique and incredibly student-friendly. So when I think and talk about this initiative, you're talking about multiple offices who have come together and made the process simpler for students. Right? So as I said earlier, on most campuses, those are 3 separate processes. You have to go in and apply for housing, you have to go in and apply for dining, you have to go in and apply for parking. Some of those processes are arduous, some of them can be confusing, and we have streamlined that for our new students come in, and they do it once, And it's all in the same place, all in the same spot. They don't have to remember 3 different logins, 3 different links, 3 different passwords, right? And I think that's really exciting that we were able to do that for UW-Whitewater. And that's a truly collaborative approach, bringing multiple offices together, which is really pretty cool to see.
Director Gross?
Yeah, I had a question about just the new summer housing policy.
Sure.
I had a couple student concerns where they got a job here on campus over the summer. However, when they applied to summer housing, they were turned away. I was just wondering, is that like what, like kind of, how can we help those students so that they have somewhere to live and work here on campus?
They were told what?
It was a student who had a job, got a job here over summer.
Sure.
The summer, tried applying for summer housing and was told that they either needed to be living here this current semester or be living on campus next semester. Neither is the case for them,
Yep.
but they're a current student here at Whitewater.
Yep, so thank you for asking that question. So when it comes to summer housing, we only have a limited amount available because of our growing and vibrant camps and conference program. And so the priority is for summer residence hall space for either current or incoming future residence hall students. However, and the summer housing application is closed on Friday, May 1st. However, we have said, and those students have been communicated with, that if we have space available, and there was some space available after the application's closed, that we would entertain housing those students that did meet that criteria, and the highest priority will be those that are student employees.
Senator Lang?
Can you talk about if and how student feedback was taken into consideration with the new summer changes for housing? Like
One more time, please. I'll come a little closer too.
Can you tell us how student feedback was incorporated in making the changes to summer housing?
So what we did with summer housing is the campus had a longstanding policy to make sure we had accessible housing for student employees. Right? That was coming out of COVID. That was a little bit of a challenge recruiting student employees, and that was our priority. And so we created a price point that was very, very accessible. It also was not a price point that allowed us to really recoup true expenses. And so this year, what we did is we looked at what the market value price point should be, what the current price point was, and kind of met students in the middle to make sure we still had a very accessible, very affordable price point, but also wasn't preventing university housing and the campus from recouping the kinds of expenses we need to recoup when you run a housing program. So I would say the answer to your question as far as taking student input was making sure that our prices still are really, really low. And if you look at, and we did compare, if you look at all the other UW schools for summer housing, we are way below the bar.
Your follow-up?
Thank you.
Technically a different question.
Sure.
Do you have a timeline for students to receive housing placement for summer?
Oh, absolutely. So, thank you. Housing applications, as I said, close on Friday, May 1st. Housing assignments will go out this week. Right? We certainly didn't expect them to go out today, being Monday, but I'm every confidence they're going to go out this week, and it's not going to be Friday. Now, that's about the best window I can give you tonight.
Senator Healy?
Yeah. So has information for individuals who got like approved for single housing for like disability reasons or whatever reasons, have they been like notified where they're being placed, or like when will they be notified?
Are you talking summer or the fall?
Fall.
Fall. So CSD is the one that notifies them if they've been granted the accommodation.
Yeah.
And then their placement will be verified when placement goes out the week of May 26th.
Okay.
And again, I'll remind you, please note I said week of May 26th and not necessarily May 26th.
Senator Lang, and then Senator Lang was our last question.
Can you tell us how student feedback was incorporated with the new like application bundle for like housing, dining, and parking all together? Can you tell us how feedback was incorporated?
Yep, that's a great question. So we essentially created our new application from scratch. If you were to compare the previous application to the new application, side by side, page by page, I think you would be really, really impressed at the improvement. And every step of that design, we had students, whether it be students from admissions or students from housing, in those rooms and giving us feedback and looking at the applications. We also, when we thought we were done, we asked a couple students to, I don't know if this is the technical term, but basically do a test dummy application to see if there were glitches and get their feedback. So we also had, and I'm gonna look at our Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs, Kristen Philhauer, for a second. And I might need to tag her in because I might not remember the exact timeline, but sometime, I think it was either August or September, she hosted a student feedback session on this very topic and brought in not only UW-Whitewater students, but from some area students that also gave us feedback about that application. Do I have that timeline about right? Do you know what I'm talking about?
No.
We were in the community building.
Oh my god, I'm sorry, my frame of reference is.
Macy Peace was one of the students.
Yes,
Yeah.
thank you,
So,
thank you.
Yeah, but I think it was August or September. But the bottom line is we had 4 to 5 students that spent a few hours with us, and we painstakingly walked through the entire page by page, sentence by sentence. So we got a tremendous amount of student feedback through that process.
Thank you, I'm sorry I wasn't.
No, that's okay. But like I said,
And we purposely chose some students too that were not necessarily we had some current students, and then we had students that were coming through the pipeline, so that we had both perspectives, so someone completing it for the first time, and then students who've done it in the past.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah.
And
thanks for having me. I hope you have a great rest of your meeting.
And then we're going to go out of order for the only time tonight into item E of new business, R252610, resolution honoring the significant contributions of Jan Dogan. And the submitters have the floor whenever they're ready.
All right, everyone, Abby's coming around with an updated copy, looking to make 1, 2 content changes and correct some titles. So, I'd like to first point out the group of submitters and the sponsors. The other submitters are essentially the executive board, the president-elect, the RSGA chair, and the SUFEC chair. This bill is sponsored by all 4 Senate officers and every single WSG emeritus member. I'm not quite sure where to start on this bill, besides it seems obvious and kind of inevitable that it would one day come before this body. And we've talked a lot about Jan's impact on this organization, and campus. So I'd encourage you to read through this bill, but I'd walk through kind of what some of the general categories are. You have positions Jan has held on campus. You have different awards Jan has won on campus and in the community. You have community involvements. It is 3 pages, so please, I won't read it to you all, but I would encourage you, as speaker, to let some time for folks to read through it, and noticing that orange highlight is things added, there's 2 strike throughs, I think. Are you ready to read it?
Absolutely.
Is that what you have for the question?
Sure, yeah. Let me Google it, but yeah.
Give you all a second here to get comfortable with it. Alrighty. Anyone have any questions for the submitters? Not seeing any questions. We can go right into content changes here then. Are there any content changes in this legislation?
To make the content changes reflected in orange in the handout.
He's asked for that motion to be entertained. Someone like that, everything that motion, send the reason. It's been moved, is there a second? Senator Giannetti. Seconded, discussion on the content changes.
I'd gotten a list of titles from one person, and then another had updated it a little bit, so I believe these are the correct titles. I suppose I yield to Jan.
What?
Are you-
I spoke to someone today. There was,
Okay.
Yeah, and let's just call it real, my husband doesn't know what I've done. But,
I don't want to call him out, so the original
No,
list
it's
came
okay.
from Jan's
It's
husband.
he used an incomplete copy of my Vita, so it's okay.
I believe the positions are updated, they're correct now.
Okay, great. Angela got it, I didn't see.
Yeah, welcome to SAI, and I was told, I ran into Angela, and she was like, so, where did you get those titles from? I was like, oh, not good.
We watched it through this.
Yeah.
Is there any other discussion on the content changes? Seeing no discussion, we'll go to a roll call vote. Vote of aye will be to adopt the orange changes you see here. Vote of nay will be to keep it as is. You can also pass or abstain or any of the one things. Any questions?
Point of parliamentary inquiry, is this an instance where we could just do unanimous consent instead?
Good. I'll ask unanimous consent to make the content change. Any opposed? Seeing none, the legislation will reflect the changes. Great suggestion. Any other content changes? Seeing no content changes, we'll go to clerical edits. Are there any clerical edits on this piece of legislation? Advisor Clarkson?
In the section where it says noting the following, AJ Gillespie should be capital J. And Deontay has an accent over the E. Over the E. Third to last line.
Ask unanimous consent to make those changes.
Clarification, on my copy, AJ has capital A.
Capital J as well.
Oh,
Capital A, capital J, and then the accent, right?
On Deontay.
Nancy. Ask unanimous consent to make. Senator Purnell. It's been moved. Is there a second? Second by Senator Healy.
Second.
Second. I'll ask unanimous consent to make that change. Any opposed? Seeing none. Any other clerk votes? Seeing no further clerk votes, we're in the discussion on the legislation. Senator Reaper.
Like the submitter said, I think it's well deserved and really kind of expected. Dan's done so much around the university and done so much for students and honestly just done so much for us. So I wish we could honor him more.
Senator Regan.
I'll echo everything I already said, but Jan is a legacy that her name will continue to grow throughout Whitewater. I think we talk about her probably once a day saying, oh, Jan would not like that, or Jan would say this, or talk about her in a certain instance. And I think it just speaks volumes to the person that she is and how she's always there for students and for us and our experience here on campus. And we hope to continue on her legacy as best as we can.
No one has any other discussion. I can go. Vice President Heiser.
Yes, so Jan, I just want to say thank you for everything. Beyond just like the advisor component, I know I told you this before, but every time I feel like I talk to you, I like learn like a piece of advice, even at the gala. So that's just so helpful. So truly the experience in WSG would have been the same without you being part of it.
President Wilson.
Jan, This entire semester, I think for lots of us, has been an exercise in operating completely differently because there was so much structure and there was so much from a cultural perspective that I don't think you feel all the time, and that when you begin to recognize an absence, you go, oh my gosh, what a weight, you know? And I think we feel that on Mondays, and we feel that on Tuesdays and Wednesdays and Thursdays and Fridays. And it took me so long, I think I said in December, when we were in the WCC, for a while, just being in this room on Monday nights, all the people had changed for me, because Doug and I were getting old, and all the things on the agenda change every week. The only consistent thing had been you and this room, and even this room looks way different than when I started. And like, yeah, it was just an exercise in experiencing shared governance without you there, and then it was sort of an exercise in figuring out again that you were still there and that you were still just a call away. And it speaks, it speaks leaps and bounds to who you are as a human. That every time I see you, you still say, "What do you need? And how can I help? And how are you doing?" And it's not like, "Hey, how you doing?" It's like, "How are you doing?" And there just aren't lots of humans who are like that. So thanks for being the greatest human in the world. Jan, if you got close enough with her, would frequently say, sometimes in a very positive way and sometimes in a less positive way, that everybody leads differently. And that is 100% true. And one of the ways in which everybody leads differently is that everybody leads a little bit worse than Jan, because I think Jan's the best leader I've ever gotten to work around. So thank you, Jan.
Senator Majors.
Definitely agreeing with what everyone else has said, but just my little part is I would not have joined this org if it wasn't for Jan. Jan telling me at the election as I was helping, hey, you should come to this meeting at this time in this room. Not exactly telling me what it was, just you should show up. And then when I did show up, she just sat right there and said, you should run. And I don't think joining this, without Jan telling me to join this org, I wouldn't have had the opportunities that I've had on campus. I would not have been as involved as a transfer student. I didn't know where I belonged on campus, and Jan definitely was the person to get me involved. I would not have the opportunities. I would not be at this point considering going into grad studies for higher education without what Jan has done for me and this org.
Senator Ponzo.
Not really a point of discussion. Point of parliamentary inquiry, are we able to make a motion to go back into clerical edits? I noticed something. It should say RSGA Chair Emeritus Andy Holmbeck and not just RSGA Chair Andy Holmbeck.
Emeritus for Andy will confer upon degree conferral as the legislation stipulated. So Andy's degree has yet to be conferred. Senator Hernandez.
I met Jan when I started as a Greek intern. There was a lot of change in staff around that time, and he and the other Greek intern had no idea what was going to happen, but Jan was always there for us, and we really appreciated it, and she just always led, not knowing exactly what was going to happen, but she always just kept very positive and was so helpful to me and all the other SAI staff, so I really appreciate that, and she's just really awesome. So.
Senator Lang.
I met Jan literally day one of campus through ULEAD, and I didn't realize it at the time, but that kind of shaped the trajectory of most of college for me, even though I'm only almost done with my first year, but I think it'll go a lot farther than that, so I'm very appreciative.
Parliamentary Purnell.
Jan is the whole reason why I'm in this organization, so when you get annoyed with me on a Monday afternoon, you'll blame. But she's sort of been the person to go to whenever I need advice on anything. Even before joining WSG, I've been able to just kind of go to her and talk things through, and she's been really just not even just helpful, but just a great advisor in all ways. And I just want to say thank you.
Dr. Roscoe?
I just want to say thank you, Jan. I think there's a lot of great things in this bill. I don't even think it begins to cover all she's done. She was very impactful in my college career here and my time. Thankful enough to have known her all 4 years of college. During my first semester, met her during formal recruitment, and, worked in SAI and PHC board with her at WSG. So a lot of great memories with Jan. I think this bill is amazing. So,
Quick question.
I met Jan pretty much when I started as clerk, and throughout the good chunk it's been, no matter the highs or lows, Jan's always been there for me, even while she has not been an advisor currently. But if I need anything, I call her up, she's there, and through the crap and the good, she's always there with a smile on her face, hoping to comfort someone. So thank you, Jan.
No one has anything else I can go. When I got this legislation yesterday, I was shocked at just how short it is. I thought, I'll be honest, I thought this would be a 15-page bill. We would have another 60-page packet. But I have a couple just different thoughts, so I apologize if they're not connected. I think the fact that every single American member of the organization signed on to this speaks volumes to your legacy, not just with the current people in the room, but going back, close to a decade now with Tom Pine as an emeritus. I really am appreciative of how we've been able to work together. I know we've argued, but I think it's because of just the passion we both had for the organization and for serving students. And I do really appreciate you responding to my late night texts of just questions on an idea I had, and we can't really answer, and you do. The last thing I'll note is, as the advisor, is a member of the Whitewater Student Government, and this is to confer emeritus status. It does require a response from the Chancellor, so. And final, President Bradley, I'll allow you the last comment here.
When Jan called me and let me know that she was retiring, I was currently on my way back home from a doctor's appointment. They put a very large needle in my foot and filled it with lots of drugs, and I was having a pretty bad day, and then you completely ruined it. Crash and burn, it was not a very good day. And so the first thing I did was I called who we think are of as really great previous members of the organization. I called Will and Alex and Davin and Tom, and my question was kind of, what do we do? What do I do? Right? I have not led this organization without Jan. And their response was, you're on your own, neither have we. Right? We don't know what to do. She was always kind of the person in our corner. If she had to become the fall person, we always knew that Jan was there to back us up. And they said, good luck. And I went, that's not cool. Please offer me some advice. And that night we started writing this. And if you would have told me that we could manage to get it down to 3 pages just for the sake of the earth, I too would be surprised. But you've been phenomenal, Jan, and what I appreciate is I don't have to say everything now, because I can say it to you later, or tomorrow, I can give you a call, or Isaiah and I are going to come by sometime soon. And so thank you for being that person, right? My mother wanted me to express her gratitude. I tell the story a lot of how Jan told me to quit one of my jobs, and I thought that was ridiculous, and then my mother said, well, maybe that's a good idea, so I did. But the part I typically leave out, unless we're in a conference room over at Higher Hall, is that it really kind of shocked my family that there is somebody who's looking out for my best interests. Right? Sometimes it feels like a professor might not notice, or a complex director might not notice. And I think what you help show that that's not the case. There are people on campus who are like, so thank you for being that person. Thank you for me. Thank you for my mother. And this is very well deserved, Jen.
All right. Seeing no further discussion, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll whenever you're ready. Vote of aye is to adopt the legislation and confer emeritus status. Vote of nay is to not. You need to 3/4 majority or 2/3. It requires a 3/4 majority to confer emeritus status. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready.
Senator Arnett.
Aye.
Senator Coleman.
Aye.
Senator Janetti.
Aye.
Senator Healy.
Aye.
Senator Hernandez. Senator Kiwood.
Aye.
Senator Lang.
Aye.
Senator Majors.
Aye.
Senator Punzel.
Aye.
Senator Purnell.
Aye.
Senator Reber.
Aye.
Senator Reyes.
Aye.
Senator Richardson.
Aye.
Senator Thompson. Oh, aye. Senator Vanderhack.
Aye.
Senator Wells.
Aye.
Senator Wheaton.
Aye.
Speaker Patricius.
Aye. Vote of 18-0. I am proud to announce that R25, 2610, resolution honoring the significant contributions of Jan Bilgan, has passed unanimously. We would be the first to congratulate you, Advisor Emeritus Bilgan.
Thank you,
I
Mr.
have been
Speaker.
asked if you wish to share a few words.
Sure.
Help you to the
Oh
podium.
my goodness.
You can only fit it there for beers.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and all of you. Wow, I always hate that. I'm gonna just take a couple minutes. I swear it won't be long. I know you have lots on your agenda. Those things that people were surprised at in your bill happened because I did work. I didn't talk about working, I worked, right? And so when I was looking at my resume today, for those of you who are able to join us on Saturday, right, looking at that list of 35 things, those happened in a blink for me. They happened as a bonus, I guess, or as a cause and effect of committing to something that really matters. And that's all the students, right? I think Abby reminded us on Friday that curiosity is a key characteristic that happens if you let it, and if you nurture it, and if you look for it. And I think that's something that I hope I've instilled in other people, right? If you don't have choices, right? If you're not curious, you cannot always have more and more chances to do that. You have to find those chances and take advantage of them. And I think without choices, right, and without chances, there isn't change, right? And this organization is all about change. I think it's funny that my master's degree is in org management and change management was my thesis, right? Because I did it every day with all of you and all the professional staff that I worked with. And that those changes are possible in shared governance if you ask questions respectfully, intentionally, with curiosity. My mom used to tell me, always ask the question, you mean you're gonna like one answer better than the other, right? But you're gonna get an answer. Your role in shared governance is to ask the questions whether you think people want to hear them or not. Because from being on the administrative side, right, of that equation and the other 80% of my job, right, without someone asking me that question, I would have never thought that students wanted large format concerts. I would have never known that students were not having classes excused and suffering, right, without those questions being asked. And so from an administrative position, because I kind of split my time, right, is that students ask those questions. So then it brought it to our attention. So from a student affairs perspective, we can then be like, oh, well, crap, didn't realize that, let's move that up the list, right? Because that's impacting students more. Without your curiosity and your willingness to ask questions and to stand tall and ask those and admit when you don't know, right? And to ask further questions and be curious, that equation doesn't work. So it's not so much someone asked me once, how much time should student government focus on internally and how much should they focus externally? And I think that's a really unfair question to ask. So I'm not gonna give you an answer. I can do that now, I'm retired. But I can tell you that you cannot do the work that you are created to do if you just focus on the inside. None of that work can be done alone. And you have to find the common ground. You have to ask the questions, you have to make choices, and without that, you will not earn respect and you will not foster what back in 1970, sorry, right, that 3609 puts you at the table. You have to earn your place at the table every time you're there, as does everyone else in the equation, right? But it's a little easier for people who are working full-time, right? Doing that work, getting paid to do that work, and fostering great opportunities for students. That is what they do on the daily. They can't do their work as good as they want to do it without you. And I hope that you remember that. I hope you ask lots of good questions in respectful manners, because everyone deserves to be treated well and with honesty and with integrity. And when you make it about you, you're not doing those things, right? So I will not take any more time with my TED Talk by Jan, but I just want to say so much. I cannot imagine my career without this opportunity. I was elected to the seats that you sit in with 14 write-in votes, y'all, as a freshman. So I always carried that with me, and knowing that things happen, things went my way, things didn't go my way, and everyone has potential. So look for yours, look for potential in each other. When the drama gets here, remind each other that you're here to serve students and be supportive of one another, and you will do well and do great things. And thank you so much for your time, and Mr. Speaker, I yield. About that. And for the last time, Mr. Speaker.
Hopefully not the last time. For now.
I yield. And just so you know, right, I want to be very clear. There's an emeritus, I'm a WSG advisor emeritus. There's a separate process that you don't have influence over. So just so everybody knows that, that was Nick just clarifying that up. So just so you know, okay.
You were academic staff, right?
Yeah.
So
Yep, it's been submitted, yeah, so it's okay.
Academic staff assembly can confer emeritus or recommend emeritus for academic staff, which we have no purview over, but he's separate.
Shoot for the disease.
We'll be back into order here.
I'll get one.
Okay. Okay, wait. I'm gonna go up so that I'm talking. Should I get taller? Y'all, I'm so sorry. We're being bad, they have a meeting.
You said 9 o'clock, he's done.
All right, while they're doing that, we're gonna get back into order here, starting with the approval of the agenda and minutes, starting with the minutes from April 27th, 2026. Looking for a motion to approve. Senator Giannetti.
Motion to approve.
It's so moved. Is there a second? Senator Lonzo.
I seconded.
It's been seconded. Voice vote.
Acclamation.
Acclamation is called. Any opposed? Seeing none, the minutes from April 27th, 2026 have been approved. Onto the agenda for May 4th, 2026. I'll ask for unanimous consent to strike items. Item A under the agenda minutes, items 1 through 4 under internal committee reports, item 1 under external committee reports, and I misspelled Reberg in a place on the agenda, if I could spell it. Accept. Any opposed to that? Seeing none, the agenda will correct those changes. Looking for a motion to approve the agenda. Senator Lang. Motion to approve. It's been moved. Is there a second? Senator Reyes. Second. We're into, okay. Voice vote. Acclamation. Acclamation is controlled. Any opposed? Seeing none, the agenda has been approved. We're to there student issues and concerns? Are there any student issues and concerns in the gallery? Seeing none, we're going to reports, starting with internal committee reports, which we have none of, into external committee reports, which the person who will come back to, and then into officer reports with our president, Mr. Doug Bradley.
Sure thing. So, it was quite a busy week last week. Towards the end of the week, Abby, Isaiah, and I were up in Madison, and then of course we had gala, so that was a lot of planning all week, and then the day of. So it really got hectic towards the end. This week it's a lot of wrapping that up and seeing how we did and making sure that we follow through on our promises to email out and thank our sponsors, things like that. So a lot of gala related things. But other than that, I suppose I'll yield the questions.
Are there any questions for President Bradley's final officer report? We're on to the final report of Vice President Abby Reiser.
So very similar to what Doug said. The gala last week, going to Madison, and then as for this week, wrapping things up. So I will yield to questions as well.
All right, are there any questions for Vice President Reiser? Seeing none, we'll go to the report of our advisor, Mrs. Kingsford.
Thank you to all who made the gala so special last week. I really just spent time supporting you all in whatever way that I can, and celebrating students, as well as some friends. So that's really my report, I guess. With that, I yield.
Are there any other any questions for Advisor Clerk? None. We'll go into executive board. Actually, we'll go back in order, starting with the external committee reports. Chancellor's Committee on Accessibility and Disability with Senator Reber. So stand up for your slides.
Yeah, of course. So the Chancellor's Committee on Accessibility and Disability met on May 1st, and we talked about just a few things. So first, the Center for Students with Disabilities is currently managing a significant increase in finals week testing, and they were celebrating a successful award ceremony that distributed over $24,000 of scholarships. So that went really well. IT Services has launched a new PDF remediation tool for professors with the Catalyst website, and it's also integrated into most library databases like JSTOR and other ones that allow you to integrate PDFs already, or remediate PDFs already. And then, but the formal digital accessibility deadline has been shifted to April 2027. It was originally this year, and like really, really soon. I think it was 7, 8. I think it was this week.
4 days ago.
Yeah. So, and then physical improvements are underway. We had 8 new ADA accessible desks put in. And obviously, Terry mentioned the upcoming elevator construction in Wells West. And then there's some preparations to vacate Winter Hall for renovations. And then additionally, College of Letters and Sciences has established a baseline for accessibility data. And the library recently debuted a new pet therapy mural in their pet therapy area. So go check that out because I've heard it's really cool and I've seen it. So with that, I yield.
Are there any questions for Senator Reber? Seeing none, we'll go back into executive board reports with Director of Academic Affairs, Ms. Olivia Gross.
Yeah, I think I'll do verbal reports tonight just for some fun.
Final one of the semester.
Yeah. You all read my report. The biggest thing is just I wanted to mention as final season is upon us. Please pay attention to your academics. I feel like I'd be remiss as the Director of Academic Affairs to not say pay attention to your academics. Your student here, student comes first. And then the second thing as well is I just wanted to mention it. There is, if all of a sudden you finish one of your courses and you think that you were graded unfairly on assignment, that there is a grade appeal policy. You are required to email that instructor no later than 7 days after the start of classes in fall. So if you all of a sudden get your grade back and you realize, hey, I think this is unfair, make sure you email them right away, either right away once soon as you get it or early August. before that 7-day deadline. But have a happy final season, get those A's and get those good grades.
Are there any questions for Director Gross? Seeing none, Vice President Reiser has one quick announcement.
Quick announcement. So tomorrow, there is an event from 11 to 1. It is the summer kickoff. There's a food trailer, and WSG will have a table there. So if anyone wants to do some tabling, by the food trailer, you can get some food and table. That could be a fun time. Then please come see me after this meeting. Thank you.
Alrighty. Back into the report of our Directors of Student Affairs, Commander Rosquist, and then Associate Director Turner. He's not here, but I assume Director Rosquist or President Bradley could answer questions if you have any based on his report. Are there any questions for the Student Affairs team here?
Or they might want to do the verbal.
You want a verbal? Do you?
Sure, that'd be great, thanks. So that's kind of official meeting here, so if you have any questions, please continue to reach out. Thank you to all who came to Spring Splash Cleanup this week. There was a few of you. So thank you for doing those things to continue to serve students. Late night breakfast is also this week, so please show up if you can. And with that,
Are there any questions for Director Rosquist? I have one. Do you know when late night breakfast is? Like what day it is?
Wednesday, 8 p.m. Yeah, 8 p.m.
No.
It's Wednesday.
Wednesday, yes, time is wrong. It's at the normal time that it's bedtime.
You have to Senator Majors, do you have the time? 10 p.m. Wednesday at 10 p.m. Senator Bunzel.
Question, is the late night breakfast free?
I'll yield to Dan.
Yield to Senator Lang.
It is free with your hot card, and it does not count as a meal swipe. They're just taking attendance with your hot card.
Any other questions for Director Rosquist? Seeing none, we'll go to the report of our Director of Communications, Ms. Paige Williams.
Sorry, okay. So yeah, this week I am basically really just tacking down on last graphics we posted for the end of the semester, including graphics for the awards that were given out at our gala on Friday. And once again, congratulations to all the nominees who were selected and got awards. Congratulations. On top of that, I am doing kind of like, the term isn't senior send off, but like senior like posts on Instagram. So if you are a senior and would like a post about you posted on the Instagram, I was gonna put this in my announcements, but I'm just gonna say it now. Please come up to me after the meeting, just for me to grab some information from y'all. And then I'm also working on an end of the year recap graphic for what WSG has accomplished this spring semester. Other than that, I yield.
Any questions for Director Linneman? Seeing none, we'll go to the report of our clerk, Ms. Sadie James.
Mostly just been kind of locking in on trying to get all the staples out with the Records and Archives Committee. And then I just wanted to say that I will be here for most of the summer, so I'm hoping to work on the backlog. And I know most people Patrico's already said he's gonna help with a big smile on his face. And other than that, I will see you all in the fall.
Are there any questions for our clerk? Seeing none, we'll go to the report of our Senate parliamentarian, Mr. Jordan Bennett.
I had a pretty light week this last week, WSG wise. Student teaching has been taking up most of my calendar in the last week, so I do apologize. But I did IEC and Records and Archive. Went to the gala, it was fun. Did a couple parliamentary things. Did you know that all discussion has to be germane, as they call it? It has to be relevant to the question at hand, the motion. So when you're speaking on a motion, you have to keep it relevant, and you also have to refrain from attacking another member or their perceived motives. So you
can't say that you think something is spiteful, for example, or you think that they are lying. So, yeah, just keep that in mind. Yeah, I'm looking forward to doing a lot more research and stuff like that over the summer. Just really looking into how the organization functions and how it should function, getting really into the gears and all of that stuff. So yeah, looking forward to it. But other than that, I yield.
Any questions for parliamentarian? Seeing none, we'll go to the report for the second and final time of our Senate outreach officer, Lachlan Reaver.
So a lot of this week has been kind of doing the same stuff I'm working on. Last week, kind of just working on what stuff looks like. Really, it's a really new edition. I don't want to mess it up and kind of start things off wrong. I did get access to the new email thanks to our lovely advisor Kim Clarkson. So thank you for that. So I will begin emailing people somewhat. Email sets up next semester to try, but it is finals week, so I'm not expecting a ton of response. I can't expect a ton from people when I know it's a busy time for everybody. But just like last week, if anybody has any ideas, I want to get them kind of solidified or at least see what they look like, kind of play around with them a little bit. So let me know. As I said last week, I will continue to work with Senator Lang. I appreciate his input. I'll work with anybody else that comes to me. And I will appreciate any of the feedback. I'm going to send out a form for everybody to fill out that I'm going to make a treat for next week, or moreover, my girlfriend is going to make a treat for next week. She wouldn't want anything that I bake. So fill that out. It's partially to ask you what you would want to see, but also partially so I can get allergies right and stuff like that. So please fill that out. I'll send that out soon. But with that, I yield.
Are there any questions for Mr. Reaver, Senator Brown?
What is your email?
WSG out. Okay, yeah. WSG outreach at uw.edu.
The roster's been updated. I believe the website is as well. President Wilson.
Is it true that your girlfriend makes the greatest bread? And I don't know, I don't want to say ever, that might be blasphemy in some contexts, but apart from divine bread ever made.
I am somewhat biased, but I do think that.
Alrighty, any other questions for Mr. Reaver here? Seeing none, we're going to report of our Deputy Speaker of the Senate, Ms. Elizabeth Vanderman.
Hello. Just a reminder, do your office hours for this week. You don't have to do it next week during finals. Just good luck on finals, and make sure to scan the QR code and put it in your office hour. Oh, that I do.
Any other questions? Any questions for Ms. Vanderman? Seeing none, go to my report. It's a little longer one, but just want to thank everyone. Happy Monday, of course. Thank you all for all the stuff we've done over the year. This is a short list that I compiled that is probably not comprehensive or complete, but some of the things I thought. And at the end of the day, that's not a reflection of any single person in this room. It's a combined effort of all of us. So take a moment to celebrate those wins, but also, after you take that moment, know that our work is never done. While the year may end, we will have another year where more work will happen. So come with ideas and be ready to do that. But looking ahead, we do have a discussion item on the agenda for a special session. But just to get you thinking about it, I have we do not have an executive board for next year, nor do we have a structure of what that executive board looks like. So we'll have to do a special session to vote and to confirm those. If you have suggestions for a time that will work before July 1, And in our president's time, I believe he's departing, he's flying out somewhere very soon for a while. But we can talk about that during discussion, that discussion item. The other thing is Clerk West and I have been working on rewriting election rules. So at the very beginning, the very first special session of the year, we saw the first part of that. We got the second part of that. So there is a timeline we'll have to adhere to, so we have a discussion on it as well. We'll talk about that. But, are there any questions for myself? Seeing no questions. We're going to unfinished business, starting with item A, S25, 26, 12, 26, 27, Executive Board Alignment Act. President Wilson, you'll have the floor. Right now, we're still in content changes, so we will continue in content changes. But as it has been a week since this is last seen, President Wilson, if you want to say a short comment on reminding people of the...
Yeah, we will keep it brief, but it is exactly what you have all seen for the last 3 weeks, and the new version is now up there with the amendment that was made last week in blue. So as we navigate last week, there were some comments made about some clerical edits, so we have some clerical edits prepared for you once we're out content changes. But apart from that, we are all good. If we have any questions or want to move into anything, we're yielding.
We're in content changes. Is there any content changes in there in parliamentary for now?
It's debatably a content change, but I move to amend 6.3P to read perform all duties as agreed upon with the president.
Yeah. Go. Can you scroll down to it? Just to read, so the motion on the floor is to amend what's highlighted on screen to read perform all the duties as agreed upon with the president?
Yes.
So it's been moved, is there a second? Senator Funzel?
I second it.
It's been seconded, we're in discussion on that motion. Has made the motion to align it.
Yeah, so under all of our Senate officers, it says as agreed upon with, and I think keeping this formatting would make sense. Additionally, I think the phrasing with consultation provided by the vice president under the section for the vice president is clunky. So that's what I was thinking.
Any other discussion on that motion, Senator Funzel?
Honestly, I also agree with the wording. It makes sense that the president and VP should agree on it because at the end of the day, they need to work together as a team in order to best serve the student body. So it just makes more sense to have it worded in the way Parliamentary Purnell has it written.
Is there any other discussion on the content change? Any discussion? Seeing no further discussion, I'll ask for unanimous consent to adopt that change. Any opposed? Seeing none, the change will be reflected in the final bill. Any other content changes? President Bradley?
I would entertain content change. Yep. 6.4E to newly read, never disclose information regarding personal academic grievances to any member of the Whitewater student government, semicolon, the only exception being the student body president should it be necessary to resolve the issue.
Okay. President Bradley is asking for that motion to be entertained. Does someone like to entertain that motion? Senator Whedon?
I'll entertain the motion.
So moved. Is there a second? Senator Arnett?
I second.
And seconded for discussion on the motion. Has made the motion. You would wish.
Yeah, I think how it's written currently, one could make the argument that a director could share it with all members of the Whitewater student government. I don't think there's a time when personal student grievances should be shared with all members, and so I'd like it to reflect that it would be the only exception being student body president.
President Wilson.
Doug and we've talked about this for a little bit now. I'm not terribly against it. I think there could be relevant cases where assuredly not the personal academic grievance, but the matter taken to resolve, if absolutely necessary, does need to come to the Senate floor. So an example might be there is a professor who has a problem frequently with a student. If that can be resolved individually, the director can probably take care of it without letting anyone know. If the problem arises, it might first arise to the Office of Student Body President, and then if the Student Body President can't figure it out, there might need to be some legislation. It might not need to be directed at that individual professor, but I think you could make an argument that something like the excused absence policy was birthed out of personal academic grievances. And I don't want us to not be able to resolve any necessary grievances if they come up. So I don't know how that affects the verbiage, but that was my knee-jerk reaction. Again, I'm not sure I'm particularly against it. I think I'd really want to hear if they'd be open to it from Abby and Olivia. But up to y'all, I guess.
All right, do you have anything?
Yeah.
Because we called us our name.
I mean, I feel like the way that it's worded now, works. I would agree though, I don't want it to interfere with anything in the future, but I think that having that in writing, it is well worded, so it's fine.
I think the way it's written now works. I think the way that Doug proposed it also works. I'm looking at this I work at UHCS and I'm looking at through HIPAA and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
With this, the way it's worded and with the way that I think Doug is wording it, it's really pertaining to that personal information where I won't be going around spreading that student's name. However, I can still mention, we won't say at UHCS, we won't say if all of a sudden a student has measles. However, we will say there was a measles case. So I view it as we can say, hey, there is a situation with an instructor. I will not say who is experiencing the situation. I will not say what instructor.
I think functionally they say the same thing. They're just leading in different directions. You can, in practice, they accomplish the same thing. This just leads that the director cannot furnish anything to anyone, whereas the other one leads that you can furnish things to only the president. And kind of encouraging that, whereas as it currently reads, kind of encourages not sharing it. But President Bradley.
Yeah, I think in practice, I imagine both work fine. I'd like to make it clear that personal information cannot be shared. I think how it's currently written, personal information can be shared with anybody in the Wisconsin government if it's necessary to resolve. I don't see it inhibiting the work at all, right? We can have, I look back to the excused absence policy that Abby worked on as a director, where we weren't disclosing personal student grievances, naming professors and naming students, but we did a lot of work across multiple shared governance organizations and still addressed the problem without issue.
President Wilson.
I think a benefit of Doug's as well is that in a really technical sense, it doesn't disclose the academic affairs director from disclosing information regarding personal academic grievances to students, just members of student government. And Doug's new version would take care of that issue.
Could you just read it fully again? What Clause E would say if the amendment were passed?
Never disclose information regarding personal academic grievances to any member of the Whitewater student government, the only exception being the student body president, should it be necessary to resolve the issue.
I don't believe that addresses.
It doesn't address that. I thought it said student, but.
It does say students, but not the wage. What advisor Clarkson?
I would suggest potentially flipping instead of saying never disclosing, tell them what they can do. So what are we saying the academic affairs director can do, right? Personal academic grievances are to be handled with maximum protection of personal data. They shall not share that information with anyone unless it's within certain guidelines. Because right now we're just telling them what not to do, but I think it makes more sense to focus on what they should do. I do think it makes sense that they're not the only one, because there are times when you do need to have another person to help process and to help bring it up the food chain wherever it needs to go. I do not like that right now it says ultimately you could share that information with everybody as a student. I don't know that that's the intention, but I do see that.
I do like how currently, if someone who is not the president is needed to resolve the dispute, and is a member of the Whitewater Student Board, is absolutely necessary to resolve that, they could be pulled into the conversation, where if the amended version does not allow for that. In practice, would that ever occur? I don't know, but maybe an instance where the vice president is a former director of academic affairs might be necessary to pull them into the conversation, or the advisor, or something of that sort. So, Senator Wigman?
I like this amended version, I think, of the version that we put on shortly. I think it just adds a little bit more safety and security to the students and the integrity that we're upholding to them in their situation, because there are cases where, let's say a student reports something and the student is in the wrong and they just don't know, or there wasn't a problem, and then rumors happen, and then it becomes this big speculation of not one person, not two people, but everyone being wrong. That's not just a negative relationship with a student or with staff or with academic or instructors, but with student government overall with the university. It just adds another negative piece that we don't need, and I think it just adds safety to a student, because if I'm going to report a professor or submit a grade appeal, and that's up to me. If I want to share it with my friends, hey, did you know I appealed my grade? That's up to me if I struggled with it and I want to show that to people. I don't think that's up to someone else, and this allows someone else to do that. And I understand they are the director of academic affairs and they have a higher role. However, it's still my information. I can give them permission to share it, but in this case, that's not disclosing that, and this is going to add that security aspect to make sure students are feeling as safe as possible, and that's the best way that we can serve them, is when they're feeling safe and secure on campus.
Sorry.
No,
my interpretation is that they both accomplish that, where the director can only,
they
or
do, but
can't
this
just go out willy-nilly, but I just heard something different from you. And
yes, but this just adds another assertiveness of it's not gonna get out.
Okay.
No one will say anything.
Right.
That's what it's gonna add.
Any other discussion on the content change itself? Seeing none. Oh, so sorry. Senator Coleman with our final discussion.
Just to add on, the alignment with FERPA, the FERPA Act, and how it protects our students' records and their ability to request and also be aware of what records fall under that category.
Alrighty. President Bradley, I just want to make sure that we're all on the same page. Could you type out what he would say? So then, and then we'll go into a roll call vote.
Senator Hine, can I get a click, please?
And if you flip back to the legislation. So E is what it currently reads. Right. If you flip back to the doc, that's what a vote of aye on the amendment would be to adopt. And then a vote of nay is to keep it as it is. You can also pass, abstain. Any clarification, questions on that? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, if you please call the roll whenever you are ready.
Senator Coleman,
Nay.
Senator Janetti,
Nay.
Senator Gile,
Nay.
Senator Hernandez, Senator Kiwoop,
Nay.
Senator Lang,
Aye.
Senator Majors,
Pass.
Senator Punzel,
Aye.
Senator Purnell,
Aye.
Senator Reber,
Aye.
Senator Reyes,
Nay.
Senator Richardson, Senator Thompson,
Pass.
Senator Vanderhyde,
Aye.
Senator Wells, Senator Wheaton,
Aye.
Senator Arnett,
Nay.
Senator Hernandez, Senator Majors,
Aye.
Senator Richardson, Senator Thompson,
Aye.
Senator Wells,
Aye.
Speaker Patricus.
Nay. And a vote of 10-7, the motion fails as it needs a 2/3 majority. Content changes need a 2/3 majority. Any other content changes? Any other content changes? Or clerical edits if you wish, or you don't know?
Yeah, we have a bunch of clerical edits, but we'll wait till you move into clerical edits.
Any other content changes? I'm seeing none. We will go in. Oops, Senator Coleman.
I think we should consider Advisor Clarkson's suggestion of it being about what it states the students can do, rather than what is the barrier obstructing their records.
I mean, if you have a suggestion, or Advisor Clarkson, you have a way that it could be worded?
I think I have a start.
Perfect.
What I have written is academic grievances are to be handled under FERPA standards with shareable information determined or released by involved parties.
I think, honestly, I think that could work just as like a point under, like an enter tab. And keep the current clause and then just add that as substance, but President Wilson.
I think it works better as a replacement for the current bullet point. And it's stronger as a document if we simply relate to another document. So we don't give standard and then say related to a document. We just say all the standards are related to this document.
The way they can phrase it to fit in with the current like structure where it's the directors of academic affairs will.
The Director of Academic Affairs will treat academic grievances in line with FERPA standards. You don't need to say the will. So just treat. Because it starts from the top, it says, the directors of academic affairs will treat.
What'd you have here?
Academic grievances in line with.
So it gives you a document.
Does that work? And there's no motion on the floor, so if someone wishes to make a motion. Senator Reber.
I move to make this a modification.
Okay, it's been moved by Senator Reber to adopt the content changes on screen. Is there a second? Second. Senator Lang with a second. More discussion on the motion.
I think it allows for
needed for them to be able to share things.
I like
ask
Advisor Clark's
that
idea
question to the
about
Senate, but also
having it be what they can do rather than simply what they can't do. And I think this allows for a little bit more flexibility, even with more than just the president, possibly in a situation where we have now where Vice President, a former academic affairs director, you might rather go to them and they might be much more pertinent and valuable. So I think it allows for even more, and I like this more.
So the motion on the floor is to amend E here to this. Senator Coleman?
According to online sources, examples of records that are not centrally maintained and subject to FERPA may include quiz papers, emails.
Speak up a little bit.
Oh, sorry. Examples of records that are not centrally maintained and subject to FERPA may include quiz papers and assignments that are graded in class by other students, emails about students stored on individual teachers' hard drives or sent between students and advisors, blog posts, records kept by student organizations, single copies of teacher notes, and photos and videos taken on school property. So if that does not, or
the list is not FERPA protected, is what you said?
yes. So if those are things that may come into the agenda later for the academic director, considerations, building upon this current standing of what it says. However,
it should also say by the involved party.
Advisor Clarkson?
So sorry, I started talking a different angle. Typical FERPA releases would need to be in writing. That's what's standard if you're talking about registrar's office, academic advisors, or elsewhere. I would recommend that we say that it's released in writing. I know that's an extra hurdle, but it makes it clear what they've agreed to. And it creates a relationship and an agreement between this member of WSG and the student in question.
So released in writing.
That's what I would suggest. I think it strengthens the argument. It protects the student.
It should be released in writing.
Correct, released in writing. Aye.
Okay.
So, may I give a scenario that I think Abby has a student come to talk to her when she was in this role, or Olivia has a student come to her in the current role and has something that they're concerned about. That student then makes an agreement with the person they're talking to, right, Olivia, and then they have it in writing. If they have nothing in writing with the professor, they can't talk about who the professor is, right? They're not releasing anything about the professor. They're not releasing any private information about the professor. But if the professor wanted to be able to talk to you all, we could do the exact same thing with him or with the 30 other students in the class, right? So it allows you to expand or limit based upon who you actually have rights with, but it gives you clear guidelines of what can be shared and what can't.
I'm going to ask for unanimous consent to amend the amendment or the edit to add the section green. Any opposed? Seeing none, that's been amended. I want to make sure that Senator Coleman's point is not missed though. Could you just restate it again?
So,
or like,
there are a number of items that aren't necessarily protected by FERPA, including assignments graded by your peers, blog posts, videos, and photos recorded on campus. Emails sent between a student and advisor that are shared on a hard drive. And files pertaining to or coming from student organizations. So if these are agenda items that come to the academic director, those are considerations for a different line of the bill or additional writing as it pertains to this amendment right here.
Deputy Speaker Vanderhyde.
Well, I think that's what this amendment is doing. It's like in line with FERPA standards. Obviously, that's like isn't protected, so that's following FERPA standards. So we're just going with based off what is protected and what isn't protected by FERPA. So I think that's what this is doing.
Yeah,
If there's no further discussion on the point, we're going to go into a roll call vote on the amendment, just as a reminder, to replace E here with this. You can put ayes to do that, put nays to keep it as is. You can also pass, abstain, all that fun stuff. Any clerical questions? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll whenever you're ready?
Senator Janetti,
Aye.
Senator Healy,
Aye.
Senator Hernandez, Senator Kewell,
Aye.
Senator Lang,
Aye.
Senator Majors. Aye. Senator Punzel,
Aye.
Senator Purnell,
Aye.
Senator Reber,
Aye.
Senator Reyes,
Aye.
Senator Richardson, Senator Thompson,
Aye.
Senator Vanderhyde,
Aye.
Senator Wells,
Aye.
Senator Wheaton,
Aye.
Senator Arnett,
Aye.
Senator Coleman,
Aye.
Speaker Patrigas.
Aye. And a vote of 16 to 0, the amendment is passed and will be reflected in the final legislation. Any other content changes? President Bradley.
Would entertain striking 6.1 BC and instead adding in 6.9A, so shifting all the current 6.9s down. The new 6.9A would read, be required to be or previously have been the vice president or director. Must be currently enrolled student. That's 6.9A.
6.9A?
Yep.
That's not. He's saying that.
I'd like it to make it a new, move all the current 6.9 points down, add a new one, A. And strike 6.1 BC.
Okay, yeah, so.
I heard 6.1 BC.
Strike that.
So
And
now
add
6.9.
this instead.
6.9?
And add in.
6.1.
Strike 6.1
He's striking
BC
6.1. He's adding this.
instead of that. Want me to read it?
So it's to strike that.
No.
No.
No?
Strike 6.1.
6.1. With.
I'm hearing 6.9. Where am I getting 6.9 from?
We're striking 6.1 and we're adding something.
Okay.
It's essentially moving something and tweaking it how it's worded once it's been added.
So in 6.1.
BC.
So strike this?
Strike that.
Okay.
And down to 6.9A. Be required to be or previously have been the vice president or director. Must be a currently enrolled student.
Could you type that out here?
Yes, sir.
For the Senate to read here? Alright, President Bradley is asking for that motion to be entertained. Would someone like to entertain that motion? Senator Wiegand? It's been moved by Senator Wiegand. Is there a second? Senator Arnett?
I second that motion.
Okay, seconded. For discussion of the motion, President Bradley, if you wish to.
Sure. As we see that the operations lead is tasked with managing the executive board and is responsible for implementing the agenda of executive officers. When I was the director of student affairs 3 school years ago, I think something that I saw that was very damaging to the organization was the individual who was brought on to lead the e-board, was not elected as vice president, and had never been a director. That's not Abby, that was who came before Abby. But there was some turnover, and the elected vice president became the president, and a senator was appointed, and the senator didn't have any experience with being a director or understanding what that responsibility looks like. And there was a large learning curve that person had to first learn before they could be an effective leader of an e-board. And in fact, that learning curve never happened, and they resigned. I think if you want somebody who's going to be the manager of the e-board, it should be somebody who knows what it's like to be a director, or at least was elected by the students or appointed by this body to fill a vacancy as the vice president. I think I could say that was the single most destructive thing I've ever seen happen in this organization. And I'd like to fix that with this content change.
He's not reading the minutes.
He knows it. Yeah,
Okay,
I think
any
he
other
really
discussion,
puts it
Senator
on
Reberg?
the
I
keyboard.
can't think of anything else.
Senator Reberg has the floor.
Okay, so I echo your points for 6.9A, but I don't necessarily like the idea of striking 6.1 BC.
I think the meaning is still,
President Bradley.
I think the meaning of 6.1 BC is still held in the new 6.9A.
Can I see 6.9A again?
Be required to be or previously have been the vice president or director.
Maybe we do a little duplicate tab and then.
I think that requires and lays out a very important structure of who can be and who cannot be the operations lead.
Mm-hmm.
But I think this amendment functionally makes it so you cannot be a director and an operations lead. And I think, unless I'm completely wrong about that.
So it will read the operations lead will be required to be a director or vice president or have previously been.
I'm so sorry, I misunderstood. No, you're good. I thought it like.
If others think that that's not what this shows, then we should talk about that.
I don't believe it says that you can do both.
Well, no, it says it must be previously have been.
Be required to be or previously have. Required.
Yes.
Or.
So what you, Mr.
Can I give an example?
President Wilson.
What would strengthen it, in my opinion, is if after B it said currently. So be required to, or it can come before or after the B, I don't know which is grammatically correct. So be required to currently be or previously have been the vice president. Or I guess you could add serving. So be required to currently be serving as or previously have been the vice president or a director must be a currently enrolled student. So I think this does say that you can do both at the same time, but it doesn't say it as strongly as maybe on the first read it should. And I think if you added that, it would say it more strongly. So I would entertain, I would ask for somebody in the Senate to entertain that wording.
It shouldn't be.
I'm going to ask for unanimous consent to amend 6.9A to read what Vice President-elect Wilson just said.
Can you read it again, please? I think just add the word currently. Be required to currently be or previously. I don't like that. I like currently be.
Yeah, I think it's.
I like that. I would not consider. I do not consider it friendly to add on there.
If you add serving, you gotta add it.
Remove the word surfing.
Be required to be serving or previously have been
It's currently serving as.
No, that's how you have it right now. This is grammatically correct.
Is this what you have?
It makes
I
more sense.
read it as currently be serving as, but if we believe that it's better with just currently, because I think if you don't say currently, I think serving as does provide some
For
addition.
discussion on that motion.
It adds something else, because what you could almost interpret it to read right now is that in order to be approved, they must be right now or currently have been an enrolled student, or on vice president, director, or enrolled student, and enrolled student. I'm not sure it matters all that much. It's kind of where I'll sit. So if we like this, we should move forward with this.
Commentary, Bruno? Discussion?
Yeah, I do have a discussion. I love that it adds that you can be the vice president and be the operations lead. As a matter of fact, I think the vice president should always be the operations lead, because I think that the operations lead should not exist and the duties should be for the vice president. But what I don't love about this amendment is that it allows you to, it allows for a director who, or a vice president who is not currently serving as a director or vice president to be the operations lead. So for example, if the next president so desired, he could choose, for example, Orrin Smith to be the operations lead. Now, I love Orrin Smith as much as the next guy. I wouldn't want him to be the operations lead because I don't think that would be the best fit for the body at the moment, because that's just not where we're at. And I can say that about a number of our former directors who aren't current students here. I think that the operations lead should be a current active member of the body.
Okay. I am so sorry. I'm now going to ask for unanimous consent to add the word currently to 6.9A. Is there any opposed to that? Okay, sweet. So we're in discussion on the amendment, which is to strike 6.1 BC and 6.9. Add that. Senator Quanzel.
So, in a rare instance, I'm actually going to have to echo what Parliamentary Purnell said. I mean, also, the other question I had, kind of a point of clarification, is why is it specifically limiting it to vice president or director? I get your story, President Bradley. I really do. But at the same time, I feel like there are some members of the student body that aren't involved with WSG that can perform this role just as well, even though they have no experience with WSG.
I disagree.
President Bradley.
Having been there, you took a senator who was, amongst his peers, considered a very good senator, and then who failed in the role. And then it led to all kind of disastrous things and threats and an unhealthy organization. So I once believed that too, and I've seen that that's incorrect.
Senator Rubin.
As someone who was a senator during the time of that change, it was my freshman year, it had happened over that summer. I didn't even know the backstory. All I could tell was something was not right. The chemistry of the whole executive board between the president and the vice president, and then their relationship with the whole executive board, it was very off. There's always turmoil and fumes broiling, and it was not a good relationship throughout the organization, which is a bad reflection for the changes that needed to happen on campus. They couldn't because of the turmoil and the lack of trust that was there. I think there's such a big, I think it needs to stay within someone who's been at least a senator, but I would say stick with a director, because they're going to know exactly what's expected, and the person that's going to be selected is someone who has great leadership, who has been on the executive board twice now, and they know exactly what's expected of executive board members and what needs to be seen and reflected throughout the year. And giving them that best opportunity is someone who's already been the director or the vice president, so they know the shoes that need to be filled, can help lead people into those shoes.
Senator Reaper.
Yeah, so I wanted to respond to both Parliamentarian Fernald's point and the Senator Punzel's point. I do see the notion that someone would want someone in the organization, but I would look to the approval process to the Senate, and if the Senate doesn't think they're a good fit, I would just not appoint them to the position. I think that you can find someone outside of the organization who is very, very involved and knows everybody in the organization and has been really in a lot of rooms that are adjacent to this organization, but don't necessarily aren't in it currently, that could still perform the duties. Well, all the work. Yeah, and then to Senator Bunzel's point, I would say that I would never hire someone as a manager who hasn't done the actual job. And I think that's really, really important here. And I think fundamentally, what we do as senators, I mean, I can say what I've done as a senator looks nothing like what directors do. I mean, all of them are very, very busy all the time. They're consistently in meetings. They're doing things all the time, and it is a job. It's an actual employment that looks much different than a Senate seat in what we do. And I think having someone who's kind of just never been that or never even seen that level of responsibility managing a bunch of people who are trying to take on that responsibility would be, or at least could be, really, really detrimental. Because, I mean, at best, they just don't know what they're doing and they kind of don't get in people's way. And at worst, they really mess things up, like Doug has said. So, that's all I have to say.
Senator Wells.
Just to sort of echo everybody's point, I do think, like, I do have a lot of faith in the Senate, and I don't doubt that somebody could take on that sort of role, but at the same time, like Senator Reberg was saying, I think it's definitely best, or not Senator Reberg, I apologize. Like he was saying, having somebody that has that experience and knows that experience of not having a lot of time and they're always in meetings, it is picking up a job and it is like full-time management. And I think if anything, if we did want to keep it with somebody that didn't have like that background experience, like director or anything like that, or vice president, possibly going through the Senate first and having them be elected by it instead of appointment by the president. I don't know.
Senator Punzel.
All right, so going back to the original point I made, remind me, President-elect Wilson, sorry for calling you out directly. Are these applications to be a director open to the entire student body? Like publicly, not just senators?
The question was asked, so I'll allow a response.
All of our applications currently posted right now are open for the entire student body. There is no application currently open for an operations lead position, as it doesn't exist within the organization. So we could restrict it if that was the case. There are lots of instances in WSG past where only 6 individual students have been asked to apply for a particular position, for example.
You have a follow-up, I'll allow a follow-up.
Yes, I do. So with that in mind then, why are we still so restrictive then on who can be operations lead? I'm going to use a metaphor here. If you snuff out a flower bud, how do you know what color it will bloom? What I'm trying to state is, how well do we know how someone outside of the org will do unless we give them a chance? We can't just constantly say, oh, they have to have prior experience. They should always have prior experience. some of the best people in leadership roles I have ever met throughout my life never did any of it before, and they ended up being the best suited for it. So my question to the body then is, why are we still trying to be so restrictive and making it based off position they previously had held? Or currently.
Parliamentarian for now.
If this amendment and subsequent motion were to pass, the operations lead would not be at any point decided by the Senate. They wouldn't be appointed to the Senate. They would be they're confirmed by the Senate necessarily. If they were a director, they would be, but if they were not, they would not be. They also wouldn't be a member of the executive board necessarily. This means that the president and vice president could just pick someone out of a list of former members of the body and say, you know what, I liked you, come on back. I'm not a big fan of that.
If your understanding is true, which I don't believe it is, I would also not be a big fan of that. But if you scroll up on either of these pages.
Where?
Directors.
Section 6.
You're on it already.
Yeah, okay, so, under none of, so, you can just scroll up one, it doesn't much matter. But because of where operations lead sits, right, there's no, are we good?
I'm leading this, I apologize here.
I think I can explain it.
Oh,
if
you
you scroll down.
Where?
I think I can, it's fine. So nowhere in any of the position descriptions under the directorships does it say that they're going to be confirmed. It says that, I don't know exactly where it says that.
Be appointed by the president subject to Senate confirmation.
Where is that?
Under every director position. The very first point. Except operations lead.
It's also in the Constitution that members of the executive board are the president and consultation of the vice president, subject to confirmation by the Senate, and have the authority to hire all members.
Where does it say that?
Constitution.
Yeah, so I think it being covered.
It does not say that they are a member of the executive board.
Are you talking about the operations lead? Because I think them falling under the executive section makes them a director.
It does not explicitly say it. There is a list of people who are executive board members and they are not on that list.
I'd be in favor of them being on that list.
That is not in the motion.
I think we can amend it to say that without. Paige and I have a pretty neutral stance on this motion.
I think you could do it with something.
But I think you can cover that with a different motion, and we would be in favor of that motion.
Just for, to advise on options, if you wish, you could add operations lead, like in the list here.
I think that would make the most sense.
You could add a, be appointed by the president, subject to Senate confirmation. In operations lead, like, make another A here.
I think any of those could work, and we'll explore them in just a moment.
And those they could also be separate motions. You could amend this motion to do that. We are still in discussion. Senator Wheaton.
I might be mistaken, but is operations lead not an add-on to a title? For example, director of academic affairs and operations lead, or is that changed?
Not because it says previously happened. So if it were a current director,
President Bradley.
Thank you. If it were a current director or a current vice president, they'd be on the e-board. If it's somebody like Warren, to use parliamentarian Brown's example, they would not be on the e-board. I'm in favor of.
So then
doing
I
the exact
think,
laws.
can we clarify where exactly we are at then? Because I think a lot of us are getting confused between clarifying certain points of what's already existing, what we're trying to change. Now I'm confused because under my current assumption, it's that we're discussing about the motion to change it, and what that would do is say it has to, so that what it's saying now is changing it to any student, not just a member of the board, correct?
The question before the body is to add 6.9A here, which is highlighted in green. Find your mouse.
Because then if we
And
were
then
to,
to strike 6.1B, C.
because if we were to change it and like this, I would not be in favor of adding it, because then, no, like adding the addition that we've been discussing on like the description, because then it's conflicting, right? Or my,
No, just record.
Senator Reaver.
Yeah.
So, okay, so I want to make sure you understand before
Yeah.
I make the motion. All that would do is just make it so that obviously the president will appoint the operations lead, but then the Senate will confirm it.
Yes.
That's all that it makes.
Yes,
So
that's
I would like to move to amend to make this point rather than A, make it B, and have A just simply read be appointed by the president, comma, subject to Senate confirmation. That's it.
We clap for that. That was very much think alike.
Mr. Speaker.
You move to amend it?
Yeah.
Okay, so moved, is there a second? Senator Whitman?
second.
Been seconded, for discussion on that motion. Everyone Wilson?
President Bradley and I, the words were coming out of our mouth as Senate Outreach Officer Reberg said it.
President Bradley?
I'm fully in favor of that amendment.
Senator Coleman?
Yeah, I think these amendments are quite dandy. I'm not sure about every organization on campus, but the ones I've worked with, they've had positions known as the undergraduate coordinator and the graduate advisor, which the undergraduate coordinator had to have been previously on the e-board, which reflects this, and the graduate coordinator would be appointed through an application process, which also reflects this. And with that, roles such as that come the experience that the e-board relies on from working with past e-boards, cross-campus collaboration, and all the laws that come up, like SUFAC or what have you. So I'm in favor.
I have a question, do you have something?
I do, so I'm just looking for clarification, so 6.1B says the executive board consists of up to 6 directors and the clerk. So the way that 6.9B is written, there would be the potential for a lead that is not a director, correct? Or the vice president?
Yes.
Okay, so that means there's more than 6 people, plus the clerk, that would be reporting. I'm making sure we're aware that that changes the size of the group. There's no pay determined, no budget built for this position, that kind of stuff. So just putting that all out there so we're considering it as you move forward.
Okay, the question on the floor is to amend the amendment to add A, which reads be appointed by the president, subject to Senate confirmation. And I'm going to ask for unanimous consent to amend the amendment to read that. Not to make the amendment, but to amend the amendment. Is there any opposed to that? I saw Senator Major shake their head.
What is
So I'm sorry if it's, I can say it again if I need to.
Yes, please.
Could I have someone point to A? So A there on 6.9 is not currently a part of the amendment, right? Currently the amendment is to strike 6.1BC and then add 6.9B. And I'm asking for unanimous consent to add A to that amendment, not to make the amended legislation, but to amend. Am I saying this correctly? To amend that amendment, so that it would read with A and B. And then we would then vote on that amendment, not to make the amendment. Senator Thompson, do you have a clarification? Or are you opposing?
This is a point of personal privilege. Can you just zoom in? It's just hard to see back here.
Sure. On which side or both?
On the green. First.
We can.
Okay. I'm asking.
So first we have to add A and then.
So it's to add A. I'm gonna ask for unanimous consent to make that change. Is there any opposed? Seeing none, the amendment has been amended. Now the question on the floor is to adopt or to strike 6.1 B, C, and 6.9 A and B, to add those. Is there any more discussion on that question? President Bradley.
I think they're good amendments, but we need to have some conversations following a vote about what Advisor Clarkson brought up, about some logistics earlier on.
No?
I move to amend.
Okay.
To add to.
Amend the amendment. Going out the bank.
6.1B. After it says clerk, so it'll read, the executive board consists of 6 directors, and the clerk, and operations lead.
And can I advise you to just add operations lead, comma, here, operations lead, comma, and clerk?
Yeah, I'll do that.
Okay. So just have it read. Okay. I'm going to ask for unanimous consent to make that amendment to the amendment. Is there any opposed? Seeing none, the amendment has been amended. Is there any other discussion on the amendment itself, which from the beginning is to add 6.1, the green text to 6.1B, to strike 6.1B, C, and then to add A and B under 6.9. Senator Punzel.
I move the previous question.
It's been moved. Is there a second? Second. Previous question. So is there a second? Senator Reyes. Second. Senator Reyes. Senator Reyes. Second. It's been seconded. Okay. We're going to go into roll call vote. I'm going to yield to the parliamentarian here just to advise on what I, what an A means.
An I would be to end debate, and we would move into a vote on the amendment. A nay would be to not end debate, and we would continue discussion on the amendment.
You can also pass abstain. So, this is not voting on the amendment itself, but just end debate. Clarifying questions on any of that? Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready, if you would please call the roll.
Senator Healy,
Pass.
Senator Hernandez,
Pass.
Senator Keeley,
Aye.
Senator Lang,
Aye.
Senator Majors,
Aye.
Senator Punzel,
Aye.
Senator Purnell,
Nay.
Senator Rayburn,
Nay.
Senator Reyes,
Aye.
Senator Richardson, Senator Thompson,
Nay.
Senator Vanderhyde,
Nay.
Senator Wells,
Nay.
Senator Wheaton,
Nay.
Senator Arnett,
Aye.
Senator Coleman,
Nay.
Senator Janetti,
Aye.
Senator Healy,
Aye.
Senator Hernandez,
Nay.
Speaker Patricus.
Aye. These two first? The vote 9 to 8, the motion fails. We are still in discussion on the motion. Senator Reber.
I wanted to say that I really, really like these amendments, and I really like that they have to be at least knowledgeable about the job to,
Sorry.
they have to at least be knowledgeable of the job, to kind of be in there. I really like the idea that someone has to be knowledgeable about what they're managing people to do. I don't think it's really good practice to let someone who doesn't understand what they're managing manage them. So thank you for alternating for letting me speak.
Any other discussion? Parliamentary for now.
I move to strike, or previously have been.
It's B.
6.9B.
Okay, that's the motion on the floor. Is there a second? Senator Reber.
Yes, second.
Seconded by Senator Reber. For discussion on that motion.
Yeah, just kind of saying what has already been said. I think it's someone that should be still in the body. We shouldn't. If it's someone that was previously in the body, then they should be brought back in their fullest capacity. They should be brought back to be a director or the vice president. They shouldn't be half brought back into this operations position. They should be fully engaged.
Senator Reber.
I'm in agreement on this point solely because of what Kim said. I think it causes some issues if you can have 7 people in a 6-person kind of job. And I understand you can have more, but it makes it a little messy. And I would rather just see 6 people, no matter what. And this requires it to be 6 people. And I think you're always going to have a director that kind of is able to do both, or at least the vice president, like has been stated before. This is just a lot of their job for what they had done previously, so they could always fill the role if needed.
Senator Reber.
I think for this to be a successful position, there needs to be respect and trust from all directors and everyone on the executive board for the person who will also be the operations lead. And I think if they're not currently a member of the executive board, they're brought in specifically for this role, there's a lack of trust, like we've talked about before on previous boards. Someone was brought in and there was lack of trust that caused disruption from the executive board and possibly hindered some of the performances of the executive board, some of the duties that they maybe weren't able to fulfill to the fullest capacity because they were busy with the turmoil that's created. A leader needs to be someone who earns the position, but also earns the trust and responsibility and respect from being elected in that role. And I think that needs to be from someone who's currently in that position. So I am also in favor of this change.
Deputy Speaker Vander.
I think that these roles are director roles are probably constantly changing, like minorly, and I think somebody who is currently in that role would know that role best. And so, I mean, somebody who was previously held that role, yes, they did probably know that position at that time, but things probably changed within those positions, and I think that having somebody currently in the role is probably the best fitted person for this operations lead.
Seeing no dissent, I'm going to ask for unanimous consent to strike previously have been as well as the 2 commas. Is there any opposed? Seeing none, the amendment has been amended. Senator Coleman, are you opposing?
I oppose.
You oppose. All right. Seeing opposition, we're going to roll call vote. The question is to strike previously have been as well as the 2 commas from that. Vote of aye is to strike that. Vote of nay is to keep it, because I'll also pass them and saying it. So any clarifying questions on that? Seeing none, Madam Clerk, could you please call the roll?
Senator Hernandez. Aye. Senator Kelu.
Aye.
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 Senator Lang.
Nay.
Senator Rangers.
Nay.
Senator Punzel.
Nay.
Senator Purnell.
Aye.
Senator Reber.
Aye.
Senator Reyes.
Nay.
Senator Richardson.
Aye.
Senator Thompson.
Aye.
Senator Vanderhyde.
Aye.
Senator Wells.
Aye.
Senator Wheaton,
Aye.
Senator Arnett,
Aye.
Senator Coleman,
Aye.
Senator Janetti,
Aye.
Senator Healy,
Nay.
Senator Hernandez. Nay. Speaker Patrigues.
Aye. In a vote of 11 to 7, the motion does not pass by the required 2/3 majority. So you go on that way. So you're still, the question before the body is still on adding 6.1B, striking 6.1 BC, and then adding 6.9 ASB. Any further discussion on that? Senator Lang?
I will say the question that Advisor Clarkson brought up about us only being allowed to have 6 directors, it's a very valid point, although I will say that's just a potential situation. Like, there's nothing saying that the operations lead will not be a director who gets put up for appointment, or cannot be. That's just a potential situation, which we could address at the time if needed.
I guess I'll also note that it says unless the Senate approves more, we could always approve more of the situation as it's. Senator Lang?
We have 6, we have funding to pay 6 directors from CPAC. Which we all approved.
That's not how that approval works.
President Olson?
We have a certain amount of funding allotted for salaries.
President Bradley?
I'd like to entertain amend 6.1B to read the executive board may consist of, up to 6 directors, and then the rest is written.
Even a light purple would do it. Ooh.
May consist of, colon.
Consist is already there, right?
Yeah, we'll strike the letter S. You got it.
Okay.
Consist. Colon after the word of.
May consist of.
Colon.
May consist of where? Where's the colon?
After the word of. May consist of.
After the word of, colon.
So you're saying up to 8 people?
Sorry.
Trial by fire. There you go. Is that what you're asking for?
Yeah.
Is there anything else?
Yeah.
Yes?
That looks good.
Okay. President Bradley is asking for that motion to be entertained. Would someone like to entertain that motion? Senator Wheaton?
I entertain the motion.
Okay. Is there a second? Senator Puzzle?
I move to kill that motion.
What is it?
You can't do that.
Yeah.
That is an option you can do, by the way.
You can.
Under advisement of the parliamentarian, I'm going to rule that motion out of order.
You can object to the consideration of the motion.
All right. I object to the consideration of the motion.
I'm going to leave out my parliamentarian for the next here.
Standard descriptive characteristics. Was I right?
I don't know. What I'm trying to say. He's walking out. Oh. It's rude. A motion's on the floor. Start with doesn't require a second.
Correction.
Advisor Clarkson.
Advisor Clarkson to advise on that.
So the objection is typically only applicable if it applies to the original main motion.
Oh, look at that.
Well, thank you so much.
Given that the motion has been ruled out of order, is there a second to the motion? Senator Reber, and seconded. Is there discussion on that motion, which is to add may consist of? Senator Coleman?
Just kind of point of clarification.
Of course.
Why?
If President Bradley wants to say, we'll allow it.
Sure, I don't think that, I don't want any president to interpret that they have to hire an operations lead. I think they could say they want to have a vice president who does these responsibilities. And so then it may consist of the operations lead.
Under that interpretation, could the clerk not be considered a member of the executive board at the discretion of the president?
Correct, yep.
Okay. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Parliamentary now.
I don't know how I feel about the clerk not being a member of the executive board consistently. I think that right should be sort of solidified for the clerk. But other than that, I don't think.
Are we still?
Yeah, I was about to say, doesn't the Constitution have any rules? Or not, oh my gosh.
The Constitution does not define the clerk as a member of the executive board. Any other discussion on the motion? I don't know how I feel about. I'm seeing no further discussion. We're going to a roll call vote on the amendment. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready, please call the roll. Vote of aye is to change 6.1 be there consists of to may consist of with the colon. Don't forget the colon. Vote of aye is to adopt that change. Vote of nay is to not. Madam Clerk, whenever you're ready.
Senator Hebert.
Aye.
Senator Lang.
Pass.
Senator Majors.
Pass.
Senator Punzel.
Nay.
Senator Purnell.
Pass.
Senator Reber.
Aye.
Senator Reyes.
Aye.
Senator Richardson.
Aye.
Senator Thompson.
Aye.
Senator Vanderheim.
Aye.
Senator Wells.
Aye.
Senator Wheaton.
Aye.
Senator Arnett.
Pass.
Senator Coleman.
Aye.
Senator Janetti.
Pass.
Senator Healy.
Yeah.
Nay.
Senator Hernandez.
Aye.
Senator Lang.
Nay.
Senator Majors.
Aye.
Senator Purnell.
Nay.
Senator Arnett.
Nay.
Senator Janetti.
Nay.
Speaker Patricus.
Nay. Okay, and a vote of 11 to 7, as it is a content change, does not meet the required 2/3 threshold and does not pass. Okay, we're still in discussion. Is there any other discussion, President Bradley?
I do not like that 6.1 could require a president to hire an operations lead. Is there somebody who's always on the e-board? So we're looking for perhaps an amendment from somebody in the Senate on what is the way that we could say, leave the directors always on the e-board, leave the clerk always on the e-board, and operations lead may be on the e-board, should the position be filled.
You could do, I'm gonna just ask if this is what you're looking for. The executive board consists of up to 6 directors, parentheses, unless the Senate approves more, comma, the clerk, comma, at the discretion of the president, the operational lead.
I can give you an idea, maybe a better idea of what I'm looking for.
Yes.
I think how I would typically write this, if I were to suggest it, is to put a semicolon after the clerk, and then something along the lines of the e-board will also consist, or the operations lead will also be on the e-board should the position be filled, or something along those lines. But seeking more Senate engagement in this amendment, Mr. Speaker.
May I ask a clarifying question to President Law?
Of course.
Is it decided yet if the operations lead is going to be a paid position or title add-on?
We have a group of dollars allotted for salaries we have not worked out. We need to have people in place before we can have salary discussions.
My only hesitation is if we're putting someone under executive, even if it is an add-on role, if they're gonna be director and operations lead, I'm just hesitant because I think that would deserve a little more clarification. If there was more clarification, I'd be more confident in an answer.
Here's how I would proceed if I were you. I would do 2 things. Number 1, know that Paige and I are gonna pay everybody what it takes for them to do the job the best they can. Number 2, proceed as though you have the least amount of confidence in that as possible, because that's how it's written. Like if it's written in a way that doesn't allow for that, then, you know.
Senator Reaver.
I see your point of it a lot, but I would say that pay isn't necessarily determined by, like, we don't necessarily know pay of anyone. I mean, the president can really, has a lot of leeway in what they pay people, regardless of what. No, I think that, unfortunately, as much as I'd like to solidify the fact that someone would be paid more, it's kind of up to the president's discretion.
I guess I may have said it wrong. I just want to make sure that I think if the operations lead won't get any pay at all, then it shouldn't be under executive because executives are all paid. That's why I'm just looking. But I have the clarification that I need that they're going. I just need more clarification that it's an add-on title to it.
I mean, executives do not have to be paid. It's not strictly defined anywhere.
Maybe I'm just delirious. I'm getting confused.
As tradition and is our current practice, but.
Okay.
Has any other president want to mention?
I'm not sure how germane the pay conversation is, but any member of the organization could get paid as long as the Senate approves the budget the year before. So you could decide that the parliamentarian were going to be paid.
President Radley.
I'd like to entertain an amendment. 6.1B to now read, the executive board consists of up to 6 directors unless the Senate approves more, and the clerk, period. If the operations lead is not currently a director or vice president, they too will be on the executive board.
Could you type that out for the deputy?
Yes, sir.
Could you do it as a?
Oh.
I don't believe there would be a commentary tonight.
Oh, they're not, oh, I see, that was in green.
Alright, President Bradley's asking for that motion to be entertained, so then what is highlighted on the left would read what is on the right. Senator Kunzel.
I object to the entertainment of this motion. At this point, we need to focus on the original amendment and stop adding 7 different amendments to the amendment. Let's take care of the original amendment first, and then we can do these amendments later.
Yeah, objections to considerations actually can only be made to main motions. So I'm sorry for further misleading you. If you disagree with the motion made, feel free to put it down.
Under advisement of the parliamentarian, your motion has been ruled out of order. Is there what? Senator Reber?
I'll make the motion. To reflect what's on screen.
Okay. It's been moved. Is there a second? Senator Arnett?
I second that.
It's been seconded. We're in discussion on that motion. Senator Reber?
Yeah, I think this allows for kind of what we thought about, and I really like this because at least then it covers if a person isn't already currently a director or vice president, and they're at least on the executive board. I'm more in favor of striking, but I like this more. So.
Any other discussion on the motion? President Bradley?
I'll just say this is my compromise.
Any other discussion on the motion? Senator Wheaton, is that?
It adds a lot of clarity to, I think, not only my confusions, but I hope others as well. I think it just clarifies things and it's a simple solution of what we were looking for.
President Rockwell?
I'd say this is our compromise.
Would you say it's a great compromise?
Beautiful.
Question, you can reply.
No comment.
No comment. Okay. Seeing no further discussion, we're going to go into a roll call vote on the adoption or amending the amendment. So the ayes to adopt, or to amend what's on the left. You can also pass it, you can also abstain. A vote of nay is to leave what's on the left, as is. Okay. So, Madam Clerk, if you please call the roll whenever you're ready.
Senator Lang?
Aye.
Senator Majors? Senator Kunzel?
Aye.
Senator Purnell?
Aye.
Senator Reber?
Aye.
Senator Reyes?
Aye.
Senator Richardson?
Abstain.
Senator Thompson?
Aye.
Senator Vanderhyde?
Aye.
Senator Wells?
Aye.
Senator Wheaton?
Aye.
Senator Arnett?
Aye.
Senator Coleman?
Aye.
Senator Janetti?
Aye.
Senator Healy?
Aye.
Senator Hernandez?
Aye.
Aye. Senator Kiwood?
Aye.
Senator Majors?
Aye.
Speaker Rodriguez?
Aye. Item vote 16-1 with 1 abstention. The amendment to the amendment as passed will be reflected in the final bill. Okay, still in discussion on the motion. Is there any further discussion on the motion? Seeing none. A vote of aye, just for clear, a vote of aye is to adopt 6.1B to read that. Strike 6.1B, C. Add 6.9, A and B. You can vote of ayes to adopt that, a vote of nay. If not, you can also pass, you can also abstain. Is there any clarifying questions on that? And seeing as there's been dissent, we're going to go into a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, please call the roll whenever you're ready.
Senator Majors,
Pass.
Senator Punzel,
Nay.
Senator Purnell,
Aye.
Senator Reber,
Aye.
Senator Reyes,
Nay.
Senator Richardson,
Abstain.
Senator Thompson,
Aye.
Senator Vanderhyde,
Aye.
Senator Wells,
Aye.
Senator Wheaton,
Aye.
Senator Arnett,
Aye.
Senator Coleman,
Aye.
Senator Janetti,
Aye.
Senator Healy,
Aye.
Senator Hernandez,
Aye.
Senator Kiwu,
Aye.
Senator Lang,
Aye.
Senator Majors,
Aye.
Speaker Rodriguez.
Aye. And a vote of 15 to 2 with 1. The amendment has been adopted. That being said, we are still in content changes. Now is the appropriate time. Senator Punzel.
Seeing as it's 9:42, motion to take a 5-minute recess.
I would encourage us to recess after we're done through this legislation, but is there any other, since a motion has been made, is there a second on it? Senator Coleman, are you seconding?
Yeah.
Anderson, second. Please, Lisa.
Finish this.
Come on. This is not debatable, and then this is majority. Can we just, we're gonna do a hand vote on a 5-minute recess right now. You won't, raise, what? Okay. Raise your hand for an aye to recess right now. Punzel, Giannetti, Arnett. And then for the nays, Wheatman, okay. Wells, Richardson, Kiwu, Reyes, Majors, Thompson, Hernandez, Wheatman, Reberg, Purnell, Vanderhyde, Lang, Gielich, Rodriguez. Motion fails. Any other content changes? Seeing no content changes, we'll go into clerical edits. Are there any clerical edits? Director Gross.
Yeah, we have clerical edits. I sent them to the speaker ahead of the time. We've written them out just for everyone to show. I'll walk you all through it.
You will follow up your curiosity.
I don't like that. I appreciate it.
Never do that.
Hello.
Yes, that's what made me first. She's ready to graduate.
Speaking of which, my thing's probably charged now. So I just think it's like historically we took over
Alrighty. Director Gross, you have the floor.
Okay, so I thought it'd just be easiest just to kind of show the exact area, and then down here we have the actual sentences of what it is. So for 6.2 or section 6.2, D, E, and H, we just decide, like, it's changing vice president to vice president, keeping it consistent with form. 6.3, E, F, and H, president, again, to president, just capitalizing. N is adding a period after transition binders. Every single section ends in a period, or every single little letter ends in a period. And then changing vice president to vice president. 6.4K is adding that period after transition binder. 6.5H, adding that period after transition binder. And then 6.8, that's the clerk section. Half of their points ended with a semicolon, just changing that period to stay consistent throughout the entire piece of legislation. Changes serves to serve, grammatically correct, and then adding a period at the end of that. Stands because there was no period. 6.9, to do vice president to vice president, and J, changing executive officers to executive officers. 6.10A changes though to through. And then 6.10 is changing president to president. So here's that in sentence form.
I will ask for unanimous consent to make that amendment. Is there any opposed? Seeing none, all the clerical changes will be amended or will be reflected in the final legislation. Are there any other clerical edits, Senator Funzel?
Strike my name as a sponsor. I no longer wish to sponsor this
I
bill.
will ask for unanimous consent to make that change. Any opposed? Seeing none, be reflected in the final legislation. Is there any other clerical edits? Seeing no further clerical edits, we're out of week 1.
We appreciate you.
With that, I'm going to ask for a 5-minute recess by unanimous consent. Is there any opposed to 5-minute recess? Seeing none, we will be back in here in 5 minutes. 9:53.
Sit there and
And then you didn't vote on it. I was like, second.
He starts going like this.
Yeah, he was like,
And I'm like looking out.
he's way in the option.
And he just completely ignored me.
Abby, what do we do?
And I'm familiar with that.
All the way down. And me and my dad.
No,
Abby's like the people.
Oh my gosh.
Yesterday.
Can I see it?
So much more different. You should do a conversation.
You're like saving it till it's up a later date.
But I'm saying it functionally doesn't matter. We effectively wasted time by deliberating that, because then we did it anyway.
Please just confirm with me, hopefully, that you plan on.
Yeah, I think, you see, the issue with what we're dealing with.
Yeah, I know, I don't want to be like, are you doing something?
Well, yeah, nobody's, the issue with what we're dealing with is that like by, in and of itself.
You might appreciate when I gather them.
Max, like a minute.
Yeah, but I'm saying in another pile of those like.
Isaiah's
That's
like 2 hours.
And I cannot remember.
So,
I said, just take a beat, perhaps.
that could have been shrunk from 2 hours to
What
40
I'm trying to say is that
It doesn't matter if it's like a minute.
these meetings are death by 1,000 cuts. We do sometimes have the big department which are used, but even then, it's people saying, well, the thing that I'm doing, me voting against something only really delays it.
I think start with
Just keep adding.
Like 2 weeks ago, twice when I was
Like, we've wasted 30 minutes. That's the issue.
suspension of our standing rules. Is what we're looking for.
Like, we talk about efficiency, right, oh, we need to be more efficient, and then we do stuff like this.
Challenge somebody.
It's nonsensical.
Doing it.
Truly, truly.
Sorry, that's why my brain just can't.
So,
It's glorious.
So I think that's the background. This is what happens. This is what a customer, somebody challenged it, it falls to the ground. We should.
Mentality.
There needs to be. I think.
Here and Jan popped up. So
So what I told Jay, I know, is that I
Kim
was
is good. Kim is
like, like, enjoy my duration. My summer person, you know, I'm not gonna leave, I think that's oh, I can't say that. I'm excited to go to this part, I'm going to bring my internship, was like going to work, so. Are you kidding me? I'm crazy. Right, like, you're right, you're talking about it. It's just so much fun, like, Joel and Sue start coming out of their office. So excited. So excited. We're gonna like go back to like our senior year going to like
I think, what if you want
like just like that time like last summer hanging out with your friends.
There's a link on it.
Junior year going to senior year. That like it's fun. Like that summer you're like
Erica, because then she'll know if all of us are in person, she'll know.
it's like somebody's like I got a story that's like very fun. Now I'm like, oh shit.
One day I'll see
That's not, I know.
And 5 minutes.
Other than that, I just.
What time?
Picked up a new sponsor.
I'm done.
How many sponsors do we have?
Oh my goodness, I'm all saying like,
Yeah, we are. There was 3 senators that.
I really I literally said,
Kind of nice before we were back to order. I would be remiss if I did not mention something I forgot earlier in my report. But 2 weeks ago, we passed legislation that was then vetoed, that then we suspended the standing rules to override that veto. That was a custom we had that I believe I was under the impression was in Robert's Rules of Order. Since that custom has been raised, it now falls to the ground. And yeah, so going forward, we will continue to follow Robert's Rules of Order. If you have any information that would, or any research you've done, I would love to see it. But right now, we're into unfinished business, starting with S-25-26-13, establishment of the Senate Efficiency Committee. We are in discussion. Senator Cornell, you have the floor.
Man, are you ever just doing business on your regular WSG day? And you're like, boy, I really wish there was something, a committee even, that would just align us a little bit better with Robert's rules. Because, man, there's
something that just happened, that's just a little bit of a headache. It's causing a little bit of a headache right now. And if we had a committee to address these issues, and solve these problems, we would be so much better, if, for example, standing rules weren't, up to snuff. But the Senate Efficiency Committee is essentially that. It's looking at what the body does. Again, and it's hopefully aligning us better, or asking the question of, should we? Is this a battle worth fighting? Is this something that we should continue to look into? And if it should, and if it is, how should we do it? Should we do X, Y, or Z, and have that sort of discussion in a committee form instead of bringing it forward to the whole body right away to have these long meetings week after week, to sort of go over and discuss over and over again the intricacies of the body. It's really to cut down on going into the sort of weeds of it. It gets a specialized group, a specialized team together to really do it. My hope is to really get a lot of it done, and a lot of the research and stuff, because this is a research-based committee, right? My goal is to get a lot of the research done and started over the summer, because we already don't do much over the summer, right? We don't meet over the summer regularly, like we do over the academic year. And so I feel that over the summer we can take the time to sit down and read. I think that's something that we can do. I think that's something that we can manage, right? We could read a couple pages in a book. And we can do a little bit of research and have these discussions of or compile this research and to bring back and have these discussions, maybe early in the fall of what should we be doing. Some of the issues might be more urgent than others, so they might need to happen sooner rather than later, in which case they might need to happen sooner rather than later. But really, it's something that I want to get moving, and I want to sort of get moving along. It's something that shouldn't take long. It's really about efficiency. My goal is to have this all said and done by the end of next year. It's really working on how to move efficiently and make the body as efficient as we can in the most efficient way possible. And I believe that to do that, we need to, yes, go through Robert's rules, but also just kind of do an autopsy of ourselves and really look at ourselves and look at how we operate. And I think that any healthy body should do that. You go to the doctor for your annual checkup, right? You really should just go and look at and see what you're doing right, what you're doing wrong, and just kind of evaluate what needs to change and what needs to be sort of redone. And that's what I want to work on for this committee. And I believe that is sort of all I have for tonight, for right now, Mr. Speaker.
Alrighty, Is there any other discussion on the question for the Senate? Senator Reber?
I don't know, I have discussion on the legislation itself, that's okay, right? Okay.
That's what we're on.
Yeah, I figured, but I just wanted to make sure, it's a little late, and I'm a little bit go crazy. I would, first off, I would like to apologize to you over here. I was against this bill staunchly last week. And I really think that's because I read Robert's rules and I immediately said, oh, no. And I'm not scared enough to admit that on the floor. And I really don't like that about me. So I do apologize for that. I'm now very, very in support of this bill. I really like it, and I like that it puts conflicting customs above Robert's rules. I think that's effectively what I've wanted for a long time, and now this has been put it into a government document, or a governing document, a bill that is higher than Robert's rules already, so I'm now really in support, and I do apologize once again.
Any other discussion on the legislation? Senator Lang?
I guess I just have a clarifying question. Isn't this essentially just making mini parliamentarians just without the title? Like, isn't this committee the sole job of the parliamentarian already?
Parliamentarian, you asked a question.
I suppose you could say that, but it is also your duty as a senator to have some knowledge of parliamentary procedure. In a sense, you are a mini parliamentarian of your own. This is more to help me in the creation of in the deliberation. It would be the same as you wouldn't say like the Records and Archive Committee is just making a whole bunch of mini clerks.
Any other discussion on the legislation? I'm seeing none. All right. As this is week 2 of an bill, we're going to immediately into a roll call vote on adopting the legislation itself. Advise to adopt the legislation, vote the nays to not. You can also pass, you can also abstain. Madam Clerk, please call the roll whenever you're ready.
Senator Purnell.
Aye.
Senator Reber.
Aye.
Senator Reyes.
Aye.
Senator Richardson.
Aye.
Senator Thompson.
Nay.
Senator Vanderhyde. Aye. Senator Wells.
Nay.
Senator Wheaton.
Aye.
Senator Arnett.
Nay.
Senator Coleman.
Aye.
Senator Janetti.
Aye.
Senator Geely.
Pass.
Senator Hernandez.
Aye.
Senator Kiwu. Senator Lang.
Nay.
Senator Majors.
Nay.
Senator Geely.
Nay.
Speaker Patricius.
Aye. All right, in a vote of 10 to 6, the legislation S 252613, establishment of the Senate Efficiency Committee, has passed by the simple majority it requires. For the sake of time, we're going to go a little out of order. I hope you don't mind that. We're going to go immediately into the discussion item on a finals week special session. And as I mentioned earlier, we need to vote on the legislation since past hour amending. And we need to confirm executive board before July 1st. President-elect Wilson, I believe you also have some additional time constraints that would render you unable to before.
Nothing comes before this, so whenever y'all choose to meet, I will make time. But I will be out of state for 45 days in Arkansas. So I can join virtually, but if it's, I will not be presently in Whitewater past the 19th, as I'm sure many of you won't be. You'll go home to your families and whatnot. So I think it makes the most sense to have a special session next week to confirm some new board members and to pass the legislation, or I guess hopefully pass the legislation that establishes a structure for us to do our work next year. So that would be my ask. But if there's a better time than 7 on Mondays in this room, then we can find a different time. But
I would love to do, it makes a lot of sense for me, for the president, or to me, for the president to be there when presenting executive board nominations for confirmation. But of course, it's a discussion item. I would love some discussion. Senator Reber.
I think, given that we've all kind of seen the process through, and given the time constraints mentioned earlier, and I do think the president-elect should be there as well. But I also think that there's a few of us graduating in the room, and I would really like to finish out the process while still being, and if you're not a currently enrolled student, you can't be a senator. So I would no longer have my Senate seat if we did it after May 16th. So I would not love that.
What we've done in the past is Monday on finals week. I would urge you to look at your final schedule, and if that doesn't work, then have a quorum present. Senator Lang.
Would it be normal meeting time during finals week, or would it be earlier? Or sorry, that Monday? Would it be at 7 that Monday, or would it be earlier?
I would love to do a 6 p.m. Start an hour earlier, and I'm seeing some frowns, so maybe we do it at 7. Or we have someone join late. I can also send out a scheduler if people can send me availability. But Senator Wiedner?
I think 6 is a great time because if people have finals the next day, then they can get to bed hopefully, predictably at an earlier time, seeing that a lot of people probably have finals. I think 6 is a great time.
Senator Beasley?
As long as we can guarantee that we will be out of here at 10 and not 11. Like, shift everything down a bit.
Can't guarantee anything. But
well, I'll move it to be that.
Other than I would do it. President-elect Wilson.
I think it's worth mentioning that it won't take the structure of a normal meeting on Monday. Like, there won't be any executive board reports, there won't be any committee reports.
Appointments, it's just business.
It's just going to be the business of, and I think we've seen that even particularly controversial legislation on the agenda moves a lot quicker in week 2 than it does on week 1. It'll just be appointments and the approval of that ledge. So hopefully that's much quicker than the work of the last couple weeks.
Senator Majors.
I personally would prefer an earlier start if we do on that Monday. A lot of finals do start early in the morning. There's a good chunk that start at 7:45, and I'm one of those. I'm also a commuter student, so I do have a drive home. So if we start earlier, it gives me more time to sleep and then get back to campus before 7:40 in the morning.
You have a hand on.
Senator Wells.
Point of clarification, I do know that yes, some exams do start very early in the morning, but some also are very late at night and can interfere with that 6 p.m. start time. So in the event that we do start it at 6 p.m., senators who have an exam at that time, would they be able to come into the Senate meeting late and still count towards quorum?
You could join us late, of course, and since that's a class that you signed up for, you got your WSG schedule, or this meeting was asked of you, it would be excused. If you wanted to not.
I purely mean for like exam, because like some of my exams are not scheduled at normal class time. Some are scheduled like.
If we started a meeting at 6 and you had an exam that went till 6:45 and you joined us at 7, you would be able to join us and vote and ask questions and all of the regular things.
Okay, sorry, I just didn't hear the first part. Perfect, thank you.
Good. Senator Reber.
I would also say this, if I would assume that our glorious speaker would be very willing to mark you as excused if you had to leave early because you had an exam at 7:45 in the morning, or mark you excused if you had to come a little late because you had an exam there. I don't necessarily know that we need a strict cutoff time considering you can kind of leave whenever, but I do think that 6 p.m. works way better because then there's a chance that we get out of here at 10, so that it's not guaranteed 11.
I'm hearing a Monday at 6 works for almost everyone. President-elect Wilson.
I've recently found a wonderful scheduling app at the advisement, we might say, of CPAC Chair Orna Smith, called Timeful. It may help if we, I don't know how that works from an open meeting laws perspective, Mr. Parliamentarian, but getting everybody to say what times are available might help.
You know what also works? If Monday at 6 p.m. does not work for someone, if you would voice dissent. No. Deputy Speaker Vanderhead. Working for Monday at 7 work better for you? Monday does not work for you? Okay. I'm not hearing any other dissent.
Sweet.
So that, you can expect a special session next Monday at 6. Sweet. With that, we're on to item G of new business. Another discussion item, election rules overhaul. We'll just walk through the calendar. So, very beginning of the semester, we had a special session to look at some election rules that needed to happen before the executive election. The second part of that is rewriting the entirety of section 11. We do have some time constraints by the Constitution and our current standing rules that prevent us from just doing this like middle of November. But maybe we'll share those.
Yeah, just from a quick glance over and looking at the academic calendar for the fall, it's looking like because our calendar needs to go up at minimum 6 weeks before the election, and then if the election has to be at minimum 4 weeks, or, well, it says a month before the last meeting of the semester. And so the earliest that we would be able to have an election would be, from a quick glance, is November 2nd, which means the latest that a calendar can be approved is September 21st. That leaves 2 meetings. And with 2 meetings, if a bill were to go up at the first one, pass the second, that'd be great. But also that is a really good time for like a committee to be put together for it, even though there is a committee outlined already. But just in case something with that would need to be changed, and there'd be no time to really like iron out any issues.
The current draft of the bill is 25 pages long. So I also want to give you some time to sit with it and be able to read it and make any content changes if you wish. So an option that we had brainstormed was put it up next week and then postpone it during content changes. So then you can sit with it for however long and then call a special session sometime in June or July or August or something to then vote on it, and then also content changes, finish content changes, so. Thoughts on that, or any discussion on that? Senator Wheaton?
Do you see that as the most efficient way to handle it, or would it be more efficient to get it done in a meeting next week?
We could, I mean, the most efficient way is to do it in 2 meetings. That also doesn't allow room for, I don't think, for you to fully review it and fully understand the full context of it. I think in a 1-page bill, it's fine for you to do that. In a 25-page bill, I would love to give you more time. Clerk West.
I think just because, like, for instance, Nick and I have been working on it for about a year now, we would like time for everyone to look over it and find stuff they don't like, and so then we do have the opportunity to, like, switch it, like, fix it, and make sure that we would be able to run a election in the fall off of it, rather than rushing it in 1 week or trying to rush it so that we're back like this.
Senator Rangers?
I'm just seeking some clarification. What I'm currently understanding, I could be totally wrong, you're looking to possibly call us into session sometime in the summer?
Yes.
Okay. My only concern with that is I am 3 hours north the entire summer. A lot of us work summer jobs, and I have like no.
It would be a virtual meeting,
Okay.
if that helps, and then, no?
I work at a summer camp meeting, and my job starts at 7 a.m. and goes until 11 p.m.
Okay. No.
So you would be down at least one person.
President-elect Wilson? Okay, Senator Lang?
I would say I'm not the most in favor of calling a special session during the summer just because it's after graduation. There are several people in the room who would no longer be senators or be allowed to be senators, who might have concerns when we first see it, but wouldn't be able to address them or bring them up at the next meeting. So I think if we can avoid that, we should.
I agree. How should we avoid that?
I don't know, but I think we should avoid it.
Some of the first meetings of the year are typically long with people running for appointments, and we will have an election that meeting. And any other things that people have spent the last 3 months working on and wanting to get in front of you all right away. Senator Wiener?
Is there any way, because this is at least 2 meetings, if not 3, can we start it next week, or can we do a second meeting within the month of May? I think it's important to have as many people here for this and voicing their thoughts as possible. And I know for me, I have a 50-hour internship plus other commitments this summer. Not only might my presence not be there, I'm not gonna have the time to read through all that. I would love to start it as soon as possible. If it's ready, a part of it's ready by next week, and we can start discussing it or looking over it, if there's a way that we can start that process so thoughts of people who are graduating can get them written down, get them talking with us current senators, so we can communicate them during the meetings of the senators that know that they probably will be available during summer. I think there's a way where we can possibly initiate the start of it. So, because I know you all want as much participation as possible, in the summer that's going to be really not possible, at least from my perspective, from my end. So,
An idea that got tossed out was introduce it at a meeting next week, postpone it until September during content changes, and then the first meeting back pick up in content changes. It is the same Senate session, but is different academic years and possibly a different Senate, and it doesn't solve the issue of Senator Lang raised of people graduating, but I don't know.
right, but if we take part of my idea where we get it out now, like you just said, get it out next week. Senators who are graduating, people that are graduating or are not going to be returning, can put all their opinions, write them on a piece of paper, put them in a document, and communicate it to the senators returning, so that at that second meeting after we postpone it and bring it back, we can have as good as an opinion as possible from the people that have left, and we can always reach out to them. It's not the best solution, but I don't think summer is the solution. That's just my thought.
Senator Thompson?
I definitely don't think, I think we should start it at least with this next meeting, but I don't think on top of finals, like, we'll be able to fully grasp it, especially since it's 25 pages, you said?
I think at least.
At least, yeah. I don't
Around
think we'll be able to truly look into it within that time with all the other pressures going on.
Commentary for now?
I think doing something over the summer is really the only, it's unfortunate, but I think it's really one of the only things that we can do. I think that while it might be an unpopular opinion, we were elected to serve a full term, and that includes the summer. And if it is necessary that we have to serve over the summer, sometimes we have to serve over the summer, and it might be a little difficult to get enough people together, but But just, I don't know that we should necessarily vote on anything over the summer, but just to look at it, I think would be helpful.
Senator Revert. Senator Revert.
Yeah, I'm not gonna say anything about summer because I'm graduating, so we can be off that topic for a couple minutes. But I will say that I like the idea of at least introducing it next week and postponing it. That allows the Senate to have eyes on it without us having any quorum issues about a bill or anything like that. I like that a lot because it was kind of iffy that you can send something out to the entire Senate if you don't postpone it. If you do postpone it, the Senate can have access to it. Not necessarily changing it, but at least they can see it and kind of record what they would like to change. I really like that idea. And then even if y'all do choose to have a content change thing in the summer or whatever, you guys can all come with a little journal full of what changes you want to see, and it can be like this, and it can be done. I think it at least should get to you guys, or get to you all. I'm sorry, I'll peep myself there. But, thank you guys. But I do think you should have eyes on it first and be able to look at it all. Because obviously, it's 25 pages. It's going to take more than a day and a half.
President Wilson.
I think sort of similarly to Parliamentarian Purnell, I think it's important that we kind of embrace a culture of do as best we can, and sometimes that means we got to do things over the summer or we have to do things over the winter. We are constrained by timeline sometimes, but like we got to get the work done, and that goes for I would say more broadly than just this. But we were elected to do the job whenever the students need us.
There's no further discussion. Good though. Thank you all for all the feedback. Seeing no further discussion, we go to item H of new business, findings and recommendations of the internal evaluation committee. Chairwoman Vander High and Vice Chairman Reberg to the floor. Whenever you're ready.
Alrighty, so last Tuesday, April 28th, the IEC convened to hear two submissions alleging violations of the WSG standing rules. For the first submission, the committee read the report and the statement from the subject of the violation. Deliberation occurred in closed session. The second report was then read and we followed the same process. Upon returning to open session, the committee determined that there was a violation of sections 3.1 and 9.2 as noted in the first report. IEC recommended a sanction requiring the individual to complete the freedom of expression training as provided by the University of Wisconsin system, and the subject must write a 5-page essay on what was learned from the training within 30 calendar days of Senate approval of the findings and recommend. In addition, the subject is placed on probation for 365 calendar days while serving on WSG. If the subject resigns or is removed, the probationary period will pause to be resumed if or when the subject returns to WSG. During probation, if found responsible by IEC with Senate approval for breaking standing rules sections 3.1 or 9.2, automatic removal from any current WSG roles or responsibilities will occur. During probation, if running for or being appointed to any WSG Senate officer or executive position, the subject must disclose that the IEC found the subject responsible for breaking standing rules, and that enforcement of all sanctions is the responsibility of the Speaker of the Senate. For the second submission, the subject was not found to violate any standing rules. With that, I yield to questions on procedure.
Very much like last time we did this. Are there any questions? Seeing no questions. We're going to a roll call vote on adoption. Or doesn't have to make a motion.
Would be last.
confirmation.
I can take care of that. I'm gonna call out. Motion.
Alright. We're going to do a roll call vote. Vote of aye is to adopt the findings and recommendations of the Internal Evaluations Committee. Vote of nay is to not. Is that okay?
Yeah.
A vote of nay would be to send it back to the committee. And you can also pass, you can also abstain. Are there clarifying questions on that? I don't see anyone.
A simple majority.
Madam Clerk, if you would please call the roll whenever you're ready.
Senator Reber,
Aye.
Senator Reyes,
Aye.
Senator Richardson,
Abstain.
Senator Thompson,
Aye.
Senator Vanderhyde,
Aye.
Senator Wells,
Aye.
Senator Wheaton,
Aye.
Senator Arnett,
Yes.
Senator Coleman,
Aye.
Senator Janetti,
Aye.
Senator Geely,
Aye.
Senator Hernandez,
Aye.
Senator Lang,
Aye.
Senator Majors,
Aye.
Senator Purnell,
Aye.
Senator Arnett,
Aye.
Speaker Paterkas.
Aye.
Alright, about a 15-0 with one abstention, the findings and recommendations of the Internal Evaluations Committee have been adopted. Alright, with that, we are into new business, starting with R252606, resolution honoring the service of Lofton Reber, and I will pass the gavel. You pull it up. I didn't know where to start with this. I remember last year in a class with Lofton, along with Vice President Reisner and President Mark Wilson. It was a group project with
Jonah.
Jonah.
Ralston.
Jonah J. Ralston.
Yeah.
And I had someone in my group, one of my group members, who had expressed interest in, like, what's the student government thing you do? I was like, oh, just come to a meeting and, see if you enjoy it. Lo and behold, he would become one of the most involved senators we have, and his name is Lofton Reberg. I'm just going to read here from it. Lofton Reberg has served the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater with distinction in numerous roles, including as a senator, as a member of and vice chair of Educational Outreach for the Segregated University Fee Allocation Committee, as Senate parliamentarian, as chairman of the Constitutional Revision Committee, and as the inaugural holder of the position of Senate Outreach Officer. It's a lot of titles, but I think it just shows that you're able to diversify. I'm sure your girlfriend hates that, but you have stayed as involved as you have, and I think you are one of the best senators we have, and it's a shame that we're going to lose you in a couple of days.
Yeah, I think what first stood out to me about Lofton was how kind he was. Right? I picked up on it earlier, I know, but others might have first seen it when he started bringing baked treats. Out of the kindness of his heart, he'd leave them out. He put like a post-it note out and he'd be like, yeah, please, take whatever. But it's also just the little things. Right, today Lofton came into the office and Jan brought us some cupcakes, and he had a cupcake. He goes, that's with cream frosting. And then later he pulled me aside and was just so you know, if you stay out much longer, you're gonna put them in the fridge. That's with cream frosting. And I'd hate for it to spoil. I was like, thank you for that little tidbit. I just think you're a very pleasant gentleman. You're a very kind person. In addition to the work you've done as a senator, the things you've excelled in, and being in multiple leadership positions, you definitely have a bright future, and I'm happy to be able to put a bill up with Nick for you today.
Marquette's going to be lucky to have it. With that, Madam Deputy Speaker, be yielded.
All right, so we'll go into questions. Does anybody have any questions for the senators?
Get a picture of that. Oh, really?
Well, you didn't hear that, said like proud daddies.
That's not good. Seeing no questions, I'll move into content changes. Are there any content changes? Seeing no content changes, we'll move into clerical edits. Any clerical edits? Seeing no clerical edits, we'll move into discussion on this bill. President-elect.
Man, dude. So I was in that same class, and it had a lot of WSG folks in it. And since then, the organization gained a lot, but man, like, I just feel like I gained a lot as a human getting to know you. You're so awesome, dude. You're so nice. Lofton frequently comes into the office and is just a breath of fresh air. He's outstanding to be with. I would also add, so that's the non-business side, that you're just a great human, and you're just easy to be around. But on the work side, on the business side, I think so much of what we do gets caught up in a cloud. We leave this room on Mondays after we have really hard discussions with each other, or we disagree with each other, and we leave sometimes feeling the weight of some adrenaline spikes. You know, the cortisol's high now, and sometimes the cortisol stays high when you see that person the next day. That has never once been the case with you, Lofton. I had to make some hard decisions when I was speaker that you disagreed with, and after one meeting where I think we had a particularly large disagreement, you're the first person to come up to me outside and say, hey, I love you, man. I still love you. And I went, I love you. And we embraced in a hug for a moment. And yeah, I've had disagreements with other people on the Senate floor where that like really ruined a possible friendship. And that has never once gotten in the way of our work. You know, as Doug spoke about at the gala, Doug and I once decided that we were going to never talk to each other based on the work. And never once did we come to that point. Never once, no matter how crazy the disagreements are. Lofton Reberg is always there telling you he still loves you and trying to get work done with you again next week. So thank you for everything. There's going to be a law office with your name on it when we get there.
Vice President Abby Ryder.
So yes, I of course want to echo the kindness that they've shared. That is a trait of yours, but I want to add the word genuine. Like, I think that you're just such an incredibly like genuine person, and you really care. And like even like in the office, you're like, hey, how's it going? And like you really want to know. Like, it's not just like in passing, how's it going? It's like you want to know. So I think that's a testament to your character. Like, also like in the work that I've done with you, I was always so impressed with like your ability to think about perspectives, and I was like, I didn't think of that. And I like in those like SUFAC meetings, I was like, he's just gonna be such a great lawyer. So overall, you're just so genuine, and you're gonna go so far. So I've been very lucky to get to work alongside you, because I definitely admire how you do lead.
Dr. Luna?
Yeah, so I do agree with everything that people have said tonight, but I really think we're missing like a key point is who's gonna be pulling up to these Monday night meetings with fresh outfits like you? Like, my God, the gala and everything. Like, you have a new fit on every single week, and I admire it. I really do.
But no, on a serious note, besides that, you are really an amazing senator. And when even having tough days and I don't want to have a smile on my face, every time I see you, you just say either the most nicest or genuine thing, and you always put a smile on my face. And I may not say it out loud, but I do appreciate it. And I appreciate everything that you've done for this organization. And you will deeply be missed for sure. So.
Dr. Gross? Yeah, I mean, again, I feel like there's just so much to talk about and we're all covering it, but then we're not covering it at the same time. I just genuinely just enjoyed getting to know you. I do kick myself on dropping that one class that we shared before I even met you. I'm sorry you had to go through that alone. But like, honestly, there's times like, you have really helped my confidence. There's times where like I would get nervous about things, or like I would think like, hey, like I like shouldn't be talking about this, or like I don't know that much, and you're like, no, I genuinely like you're like you value my opinion, and you wanted me to join in these conversations. When I had my interview and I was stressing out in the office, you just kept repeating that I was gonna get it. I did get it, but it's more about you guys. So. But just genuinely, like you uplift so many people in this office and just so many people in this org and just all around you. It's like a ray of sunshine. You just always make everyone like way more happy and just confident, and it's gonna be missed. And I hope to see you more, or like you have to come back, like as a guest or something.
Senator Wheaton? Often, it's been a pleasure to serve with you. It's been, what, 2 years now? Since you've been a senator? Year and a half, almost 2 years. Well, it's felt like 2 years. It's great that no matter, like even today, like even if we weren't, like I value your opinion a lot and your take on certain things. And if I'm confused or curious about another opinion, I know I can come to chat with you and we'll talk it through. We don't always have to agree. But that's one thing I admire with you, because no matter what, eventually turmoil settles down and you can continue a friendship, and you're great at separating that. And I don't think that just makes like a great senator, but that makes a great person, because that means that you take those attributes outside of the Senate floor and just in the world. And I think that's going to prepare you greatly for the future. I wish you the best at Marquette, and we hope to see you around soon.
Senator Wells?
To quite literally echo everything else everybody just said. First of all, for the outfits, I'm really disappointed you didn't show up with that pink suit. That would have been glorious.
My girlfriend
But like I said, just to echo everything else, I've known you for a really short time, but the first time that I came into that office and Keaton introduced me to everybody, you were just such a friendly person to talk to. Automatically introduced yourself, and ever since then, every single time I see you, you're just always so happy to see everybody around you. Like everybody else said, you don't always have to agree, but you never really let that, I guess, sort of affect any of your personal friendships or anything like that. I think you're such a great person, and like what is it? I know that I look up to you and I want to be like you, and I know that I speak for probably other people who say that too. You're gonna make such a great lawyer. Marquette is so lucky to have you, and please come back.
Senator Lang?
Yeah, it's been really fun to work on the outreach stuff with you. I think my favorite is when it's you, me, and Janetti sitting in Larry Anderson's class, just kind of not paying attention whatsoever and talking about student gov. But you're going to be greatly missed.
That was recorded on
Yeah.
Senate Outreach Officer Reaver.
Just want to thank everybody for everything said. I really appreciate it so much. And you guys have helped me just as much as I helped you. I joined student government so that I could get more confident. Because a lot of the time, I kind of just left after I went to school. And I really, really appreciate all of you.
I'd just like to read the final two clauses of the legislation here. Therefore be it resolved, the Whitewater Student Government, on behalf of the student body of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, expresses its profound gratitude for the impact that Mr. Lofton Reberg has made on student governments at the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater. And therefore be it finally resolved that in recognition of his many titles and demonstrated leadership, the Whitewater Student Government formally honors Lofton Reberg for his exceptional service to the Segregated University Fee Allocation Committee, to the Whitewater Student Government, and to the students of the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater, and wishes him continued success in all future endeavors. Assured that his commitment to others will continue to leave a meaningful and lasting legacy wherever he goes.
Is there any further discussion on the bill? Seeing no further discussion, oh, sorry.
Oh, you, awesome. I just have one last thing to say about the outfits. I once spent quite a bit of time arguing that this organization needed to keep it fresh. And you've done a stellar job at that, Robin, so thank you for being you. And I don't buy that you joined student government to become more confident. I've always seen you as somebody who helps others be more confident. So you might want to spin it as you did it for yourself. You've benefited others immensely, so thank you for that.
All right, is there any further discussion? Seeing no further discussion, we will move into a roll call vote. Madam Clerk, will you please call the roll?
Senator Reyes?
Aye.
Senator Richardson?
Aye.
Senator Thompson?
Aye.
Senator Vanderhyde?
Aye.
Senator Wells?
Aye.
Senator Wheaton?
Aye.
Senator Arnett?
Aye.
Senator Coleman?
Aye.
Senator Janetti?
Aye.
Senator Healy?
Aye.
Senator Hernandez?
Aye.
Senator Lang?
Aye.
Senator Majors?
Aye.
Senator Purnell?
Aye.
Senator Reber?
Aye.
Speaker Patrigues?
Aye.
And then a vote of 16-0, R 252606, the resolution honoring the service of Lofton Reberg has passed.
I was going to say a few words, Senator Reberg, but then I'll allow you the floor if you want to.
I thank you all for everything you said, everything that Bill says. I will definitely be back. I love you all so much. So, thank you.
Looking at the time here, I'm going to ask for unanimous consent to postpone items B, C, and D under new business by 1 week. Is there any opposed?
It's 1 week needed time.
We'll say to next Monday at 6. Is there any opposed to unanimous consent? Okay, until the next meeting. Is there any opposed to unanimous consent? Seeing none, we'll pick up those next meeting. With that, we're on to announcements. Is there any announcements? Coach West?
Alpha Gamma Delta and Phi Delta Beta has Dodge Corvettes on Wednesday. And I was reached out by multiple members, Alpha Gamma and myself, reaching out to you all to encourage please to get a team for it. And I know 2 years ago, or a year ago, WSG had a team, and I think people enjoyed it.
If you are interested in tabling tomorrow, at any point between 11 and 1, please come see me. It would be greatly appreciated. Thank you.
Vice President-elect You have an announcement?
No, I do. Once again, if you're a senior and you're graduating and you'd like to close, please come up to me right after this meeting for me to get information from you. Thank you.
Also, if you need a cord or a stove, you should talk to Advisor Clarkson.
Yeah.
Who may also have some. No? Okay. So announcement. Any other announcements? Finally, no.
If you have an interest in the Senate Efficiency Committee, please let me or Speaker Patrikas know. Yeah.
Or also, as it's known, the SEC. Seeing no further announcements, looking for a motion to adjourn. Senator Majors,
Motion to adjourn.
looking for a second. Senator Thompson.
Second.
What's up?
Acclamation.
Acclamation, call, you're on here at 10:46.
So much, but
Oh my God.
That was cringy. I like it. Didn't even look at the camera, it's the TV. So it was like, oh, it was a lot bigger. If you would have pointed at the camera, you would have pointed at the TV, so you were I think I wanted to look at you.
Look, yeah, seniors, yes. Not the photo, but like.
Sure. Is that a thing?
I'm allowed to feel.
Like,
Did you I wanted to shoot caffeine so bad. You were on it.
No, I
for me, okay,
It was pretty sweet.
yeah, I thought that was, like, and then, okay, so for the post, I will be needing,
I forgot the card.
and then I just need your major and then